What's up, people? What's up, people? What's up, people? Let me make this right. Number one, let me get closer to the mic so I don't sound all echoey. Let's go here. Let's go to which chat room is that? I think it's Prognosis. There we go, baby. There we go, baby. It's your boy MM2K back again with Saturday Checkup, man. We haven't done this in a while. This was a new show that we put together towards the latter part of 2021 to help replace the gap that SML had left until we, Storm and I get together and we figure out, we solidify the new direction of the show, because there's going to be a brand new, revamped SML podcast. We're going to be fleshing those things out, so stay tuned for that. Also, for those of you that are missing Project Storm, besides following this channel, go to Project Storm's channel, check out all of his great streams. You can go to pntsnetwork.com and check out the streams as well. But we are going to be bringing back the commission as well. I got to get together with everybody and solidify a date on that. So you'll be able to get some more Storm on the podcast level, With that said, shout out to the homie Project Storm, as always. All right, y'all. This is what we're doing. For those that are new to this show, if you're watching this, if you're joining us live, you're a member, and we let the members participate in the live taping of the show. All right. We're going to do something new today. At some point in time during this show, because we only got one topic and we don't have any guests or anything like that. At some point in time during the show, we are going to open up phone lines. So if anybody wants to call and talk about this Business Insider article or anything Stadia related this week, we can do that. We're going to open up the phone lines. I'll let you know when, but the phone lines are not open yet. I'm going to babble a little bit, break down this article, and then we can get to those phone lines. But for those of you that are watching this on demand on Saturday or after that, that's what we do. We open this up, the live recordings and all the participation to our members. And then what we do is we air it out to the public starting 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Saturdays. Will this air every Saturday? It's a possibility. Depending upon the news and stuff like that. We haven't added this to our permanent slot yet, but we got a lot of content coming at StadiaDosage. I've been talking crazy to a lot of people. I'm still going to do my regular content. My regular content is coming back. That is the SDO dailies, the SLS featuring MM2K, and SSC podcast, and this on occasion. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to be doing some streams back on StadiaDosage streams. Shout out to the homie. Squid for holding it down. He's been doing some great streams there. At the tail end of his wonderful show, his morning variety show, which is called Chill Times with Squid. Super chill show. So if you want to talk about all things Stadia or just gaming period, hit up the homie Squid every Monday through Friday around 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time is when that show airs, okay? All right, so if you're watching this VOD, thank you very much for checking us out. But if you want to participate in the live calls and stuff like that, when possible, become a member. All it takes is $2 in a dream. Just go hit that join button below. You can participate in any level, and you'll be able to jump in the next time we do a live taping. All right, but shout out to anybody, whether you're watching this live or if you're watching this VOD. We got Victor Del Maestro in the house there, the homie Vic, during the live taping. He says, hiya, and then he says, so I hear Phil Harrison has left the country. Yeah, we're going to talk about that because when you look at the tone of this article, Vic, the ambiance that I get is that a lot of this is coming from real close post, SG&E closing down. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of this is coming from that. Some of it may be more recently as you talk about the white label deals, but I think what Business Insider was doing, which for their clickbait purposes was smarter than what the homie Jason Schreier did. And it's funny because we just talked about him and talked about the impact that Jason Schreier's article had on Stadia. Because when Jason Schreier released those numbers, see this, we're going to talk about it. Here's how I was growing up. My family is Southern Baptist, and they don't play. All right. So my family's from Georgia. Even though I was raised up north, that's my family origins are from Georgia. And where I come from, because I see this a lot of time on social media when I address stuff that is in articles that are not factually correct, and it seems like they were set out there purposely, and I call them a lie, I get a lot of pushback. That's not a lie. That was just an abbreviation of the truth. No, where I come from, if you purposely deceive people and how you portray facts and words, it's a lie. And you can't sit there, you can't walk around and be like, well, they were just embellishing. No, you'll end up with one tooth, and that one tooth will be at a crooked angle where I come from. Purposely distorting the truth to send off a signal that is not factual is a lie. So even though I feel that there are some truths in this article, and 90% of the truths, if not more, is stuff that we already knew, I think the tone of the article is trying to send off signals that are not accurate. And as far as Phil Harrison leaving the country, if you look at that, it says as soon as SG&E, upon the closure of SG&E, which that was February of 2021. Upon the closure of SG&E, he reported to somebody new. And, that could have been when he left the country. Here's the thing, too. Phil Harrison is already a made person. I'm glad you brought this up, Vic. Phil's already made. He's rich. He had a mobile stint that he did well before he got into Stadia, and he was rich. He came and did this because he believed in the tech and believed in the future of the platform, and he still does. I don't think it's as desperate, I'm clinging on to dear life to make this work, like how they're trying to make it seem. You know what I mean? Like, Phil Harrison doesn't speak a lot. Like, I was having this battle with somebody, a good friend of mine's behind the scenes. I was like, yeah, Moss, I told you, you know what I'm saying? I was telling you, that, the Stadia lost priority, which we're going to address that. I'm like, you can't do this copy and paste reporting and listening to all this junk. I mean, this is like 51st dates. We were here last year. We were here last year at the same time when y'all were saying that it was only a matter of days the Stadia was closing down. We were already here. We want to play this game again? No, I don't even have the energy for it. But if you listen to the rare times that Phil Harrison has spoke, he talked about why after he made his money or his millions or whatever it was, with his mobile stint, why he was resigned to just stay at home with his family. He really wanted to raise his kids with his wife. And he said it was a big strain on that as he was working with PlayStation and traveling, having to travel back and forth to Japan and stuff like that. And he said he really wanted to just give it all up and stay and raise his wife. Raise his wife, Jesus Christ. Don't let my wife hear that. Raise his kids with his wife. So, excuse me. But when he saw, when Stadia was presented to him, he said, okay, I'm in. You know what I mean? And then the rest is history. I believe that his move from UK to the States was because they were planning to open studios. And a lot of the things that Google is doing on the gaming side, or a good portion, I won't say a lot, a good portion of that, they are semi-mimicking Xbox. You could say, Xbox's big thing is that all of its studios are in reach of Phil Spencer, right? So seemingly if Stadia was going to open up its studios and all the other stuff, they wanted Phil Harrison, who preferred to be at home, but they would want him there with the developers. There are no more developers, so now Phil's back, comfortably with his family, where, why would the guy be pulled away from his family and kids, or forcing them to have to move to the States and all that crazy? He's here, and he's back where he's at. And I think that's good. I don't think there's anything bad about that. You know what I'm saying? You can negotiate deals. You can, make partnerships and things like that. You don't have like a development team here, so I don't think you need to be there. So those are my thoughts on that, Vic. But I'm glad you brought that up. All right. So with that all being said, again, if you're watching this live and you're part of the member team, come on, hop on in. And we can have a conversation when we open those phone lines up. All right. So before we get started, again, this is Saturday Checkup episode 4. I am your host, MM2K, on all things Stadia related, part of PNTS Network and StadiaDosage. You know what I'm saying? And we're going to be talking about several things. We're going to be talking about the article, the Business Insider's track record on why this didn't even move me a blip. Like, I'll be honest with you, when I saw the SG&E, and I hope my brother don't mind me saying this. I don't think he minds. But when I saw the SG&E article, the first person I hit up was Storm. Storm was like my security blanket. Like, Storm, let's talk about this, brother. Like, what's going on here? And Storm was like, I don't know. He's like, Moss, I'm gonna tell you one thing though. Muggs is shutting down, man. I'm not sugarcoating nothing. I said, we can't sugarcoat nothing. There ain't nothing to sugarcoat. You know what I'm saying? These Muggs is shut down. But like, what's going on here? So me and him rapped for a little bit, and then I just went and did my research, and I looked at some things, and I said, okay, I think I get it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not 100% there, but I think I get it. But man, this was communicated and handled horribly. You know what I'm saying? And everything fell into place. So there was a little nervous umph in your boy MM2K. I can talk about it now. You know what I mean? I just didn't bring it up then. It was a little nervous umph. This time, no. Not at all. Not at all. We're gonna talk about why. Let's talk about why right now. I'm not even annoyed, honestly, by this article, which I really think there's more holes than Swiss cheese, and we're gonna get into it. I've become too numb to the Stadia hack jobs. You know what I'm saying? Like, I gotta be honest with you guys. After coming to this, just walk in the shoes of MM2K for a second. I promise you they don't stink. Okay, I promise I wash my feet every 3 weeks. Okay, so hear me out. This is me. Before there's even a StadiaDosage, it's just an MM2K channel. I order Stadia. I'm hearing bad news about the platform, and I'm like, oh my gosh. I've wasted $130, right? Because even though I've been doing this for a while, I've never done it to the extent of what I'm seeing now with this platform, where people so sloppily report the facts, and even if they're not sloppily reporting the facts, they have an agenda. I've never seen such an agenda against a platform who's nowhere near its apex. There's nowhere near reaching the main stage like the other cloud platforms, right? But gets so scrutinized like this was supposed to be Xbox 2 or something like that. Like, did we forget about all the articles? Like, if you forgot, just follow this channel. We got plenty of content that shows you otherwise. Did you forget about all the articles from Phil Spencer, Maj Bakar, even Jack Buser that's mentioned in this article, where they talk about, look, there is a long time before you look at Stadia, you look at a PlayStation 5, and you say, okay, yeah, this is a competitor. They told you before launch, it's going to take years for that to come to fruition. That many people will look at it and say, okay, this isn't for me, because it has to be developed. The AI has to be trained. Partnerships have to be developed and flourish. It's going to take time. Their exact words are, the other experiences will provide more. And I lied to you. That's not the exact word. I'm going to find it. We'll find the exact words a little bit. But pretty much what Jack Buser said is that you're going to see more from these other experiences because we're still building. There's going to be a lot of things about what we present that fascinate you, and a lot of things that we do better than the dedicated devices, like being able to switch here and there. And for a while, it was the rapid loading and all the other stuff. Like, yeah, there's going to be marvels over dedicated devices, but when you look at the experience in totality, we're part of cloud gaming, and it's going to take a while for us to flourish to where we can compete with them. That's why all the analysts are saying, cloud gaming, they're going to be at 1 billion, no 3 billion, no 7 billion, maybe 13 billion by 2028, 2027. When you look at those numbers by all those analysts, all of those numbers represent less than 1% of what the global gaming market is projected to be around those same times. So why would I, as a business, not listen to those projections and think that I'm going to, within 3 years, I'm going to be at 45% of the global market of cloud gaming? It's ridiculous. It's absurd. But that's how, not all, because we're going to be talking soon to somebody who, even though we may not look at, articles like this and certain things exactly the same, which is not what we're expecting. I don't want us to all be monolithic robots. You know what I mean? But they're sensible about their take on this stuff. Okay? Very sensibly written stuff. And we're going to hopefully talk to them early next week. But there'll be more on that. But when you look at some of this other stuff, it's void of all of the important positive stuff for Stadia because it's like they have an agenda. It's sad. So it's happened so much. In the beginning, I saw it a lot because I got the platform and I was hearing bad stuff at first, and I couldn't activate my platform because I didn't have the code, which that was sloppy, you know what I'm saying, of Stadia. So then once I finally got my code and I activated it and I started playing Destiny 2, for those of you that follow my platform, I realized, I was like, hold on. 90% of the stuff that I heard isn't happening to me. Is it just me? I started looking. And I started finding gamers like, Generation Stadia. Formerly known as Generation Stadia, now he's VGC. I'm like, okay. I started finding other platform content creators. Stadia Cast, that's now, Nerd Nest, they still do the Stadia Cast show. And others. And as you know, I worked with other content creators, been on other podcasts and things of that nature. But all during that time, I'm learning. I'm learning about cloud gaming. I'm learning that it's not at its apex yet. I'm getting better acclimated. I'm talking to actually reps from Google. I'm playing games with them. And they're telling me, look, there's this grassroots marketing and all this other stuff. And I'm learning all this stuff that's really separate from anything that you would normally, with dedicated device gaming. I'm like, look, this thing has a marathon trajectory that it's on, right? And all through that time, we're hearing bloviating about the platform. Oddly enough, one of the big bloviators was Business Insider. Did y'all forget? See, there's so many people that say stuff about Stadia, y'all might forget. And Business Insider likes to come in spurts. They like to do their bloviating in spurts. They came up with a big thing that was debunked like ASAP in regards to Stadia and indie games. We're going to get into that. So we're debunking all this stuff, and I'm irritated because I'm like, you guys are journalists, and why aren't you sharing the truth? And, why aren't you guys digging deeper and connecting the dots? I mean, you ain't got to be positive like me. You ain't even got to like it. But put everything out on the table. Put the good and the bad out on the table, not just the bad. And don't over-exaggerate or just simply lie. And what we were seeing was the latter. People were just putting the bad out there, or they were over exaggerating and simply lying. And you get agitated because you're thinking, okay, I'm in the know, I know better, but how many consumers that are not in the know are going to be affected by this? Case in hand, my brothers, Bippity Bob, and the homie Squid, who has a crazy variety show on StadiaDosage right now. Bippity Bob about to do his whole thing in the cloud space with Amazon Luna and Stadia. He's killing it out there now. Them two good brothers would be gone from the cloud gaming space if it wasn't for us fighting for the truth. Why? Because they were listening to the lies and the caveated information that was out there by too many. And they said, you know what, I'm not going to touch this. They that was their motif for a while. And then thankfully, because there was a community of content creators like myself, even way more popular and even talented than myself, were out there, beating the drum like, no, the overwhelming majority of stuff that you're getting from the mainstream media is off track. Most of it is off track because they thought this platform was coming out here to challenge PlayStation and Xbox out of the box. And that's wrong. They got the whole GDC thing misconstrued because there was 10.7 teraflops on the screen, and they can't get over that, right? But a lot of these people have an agenda. They're afraid of cloud gaming. They think it's going to get rid of their discs or their consoles, which is ridiculous. Those two brothers fell victim to that. And thank goodness, because of content creators like ourselves, we were able to convince them, okay, don't listen to it, try it for yourself. And when they've tried it, they've never gone back. It's powerful. How many bippity bops and squids are out there that have been so unadulterated with false information, with lies? Those of which we're going to, the false information and the misinformation we're going to expose today. How many of them were so unadulterated with this crap that they didn't give Stadia a try when they could be the next content creator? They could be the next Bippity Bob. They could have the next chill times with whoever. We'll never know. All right? And it's our efforts of this platform to try to fight back against that, we've utilized different tactics. We went after people directly, Paul Tassels and your Tom Warrens. We had to do. Well, no, first what we did is we cleared the brush on Twitter. What do I mean by clear the brush on Twitter? The Stadia community had a phobia when it came to Twitter when I first came here. And I said, no. You can't communicate in 2020 over video games effectively in the grassroots way that we're trying to do without a presence on Twitter. And what it was is that every time somebody said something about Twitter, you had 20 or 30 idiots that would pile on them. Oh, that dumb Stadia, it doesn't even work, the lag, the latency, which they don't even know how to spell lag, let alone latency. You know what I mean? And they didn't want to deal with that. Now, thank goodness, shout out to my brothers, the broadband bullies. I love them. They're still on the wrong side of history when it comes to this in the platform. But they'll learn. They're the ones that that like the rest keep saying, oh, your Stadia's going to die. They said it last year. They're going to say it next year. They're going to say it the year after next and all this other stuff, despite the evidence, the real evidence that's out there. But my brothers put me through Fight Club, meaning I can debate you. I can debate you till your fingers fall off. So we used that tactic to help clear the brush on Twitter, and it was effective. Now people felt comfortable on communicating and saying, hey, other Stadia gamers, you can do this, and they still got attacked. So we turned it up a notch. We fought back. We start going into, the threads where people would retweet what we had to say and had to say something stupid, and we start beating them down verbally, you know what I'm saying, to show, look. We beat people with facts. We didn't just insult them. We beat them with facts. And when they couldn't answer the facts, what they do, they block us and all this other stuff. And then that showed not only the idiots on Twitter, but it showed those that wanted to, quote unquote, embellish on the truth or lie or misinform, whether you were a journalist or not. You would have to be accountable for the things that you said if they were not factually correct. So that cleared even more brush. And now the community is robust. When you see people like Wario64 put stuff out there about Stadia sales, it used to be a cluster blank of, Stadia sucks and all this other stuff. You still get some of that, but then equally you'll get people that support the platform and say, knock it off. You know what I'm saying? Like, you never played the platform, knock it off, right? And they don't get much pushback, all right? They've learned to leave it alone because now this is a growing platform. This isn't a platform from 2020. You know, there now are, at least some type of significant group, even at a cloud level at least, that are playing this thing. So I don't want to get unadulterated by people that know what they're talking about. I'm just going to leave this alone, right? All that started from way back then when we were clearing out the brush, okay? Now I don't have to do that anymore. Now what I can do is just concentrate my efforts and talk to you and help you get informed about the platform or get informed about stuff like what's really going on here. Now, just because I used to interact with the community more and I've concentrated my efforts more on something else, doesn't necessarily mean that I'm not focused on delivering, giving you what you want. No. As you'll see when we illustrate here. When we illustrate it here, what you're going to find out is it is plausible that I don't believe 20%, but the majority of the new enhanced focus from Stadia is focused on the white label in order to make a better consumer Stadia product and business to business product all the way around. This isn't new. We've seen this from Microsoft. Remember when Microsoft ain't had no games, they ain't got no studios? What did they do? They doubled down on their money makers, the things that could bring in revenue. Minecraft, Havoc, PlayFab. That developed so much money that in the year when Sony was killing it with software, killing it, its best year in 24 years of PlayStation's existence, and them making 16 billion, Microsoft still made 10 billion with no critically acclaimed titles at all. Just a nuance focused on bringing in revenue and using that revenue to fuel the future Xbox, which now they're using that money. Checks are getting cut. And then now they're getting more confidence and getting more money from mainline Microsoft to go attempt to buy Activision for 70 billion. They bought Bethesda for, what was that, 6 billion, I think it was. This all happens in order. This does not happen if they don't build up the revenue in advance. Sustainability. Okay? So it is plausible that with an infusion of new money, because we've already had that confirmed, we broke that news here, with an infusion of new money to the overall Stadia effort, that it's not unbelievable that the majority of that new money, I don't believe 80%, but the majority of that new money, and I'm going to show you why you shouldn't necessarily die on the hill of 80%, but the majority of that new money went to funding the platform and making it more sustainable so we can get the games that we want. And another thing that has to be taken into consideration about the timing of when most of this information came out is to believe the aura of this article. You would have to believe that everything that was said at that at the keynote went away. Like the new Stadia Pro incentive went away. The 80-20 or the, what is it? No, 75-15. No, what is it? I can't remember the new split, 85-15 split rather. Instead of 70-30, it's 85-15. All the new initiatives to 2023, all that would have had to go away because a big portion of that was to flourish AAA development, right? To get more AAAs, not only on the platform, but Stadia Pro. So if you believe this article at face value, you then have to believe that all those initiatives are gone. So then what happened to all of the jobs that were posted? All those jobs that were posted that mentioned, hey, look, you're going to help build Stadia. And they talk not only of the business to business side, but they talk about more of the consumer side. All that was a sham. Sometimes a lie is easier to believe than the truth. It's more sensationalized. And if you're in a mind state to where you want to have whimsical, sensationalized conversations, then you're going to fall for this stuff. I don't. That's why the track record that we have here, as far as this information is concerned, and as far as the information that we relay, that's why we're well on the positive side than we are the negative side. We don't follow whimsical, sensationalist stuff, whether it's from somebody within the community, on Twitter, or an article writer. If something doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense. So if you believe this article, Stadia last summer, early 2021, let's say around May, infused a lot of money into the Stadia platform, including Stadia, the consumer side of Stadia retail, came up with this whole new way to springboard towards more AAA development with the whole new Stadia Pro initiative and things like that, only to just close, never mind. If you believe what this article, the aura that this article is going to try to give you at face value, you gotta believe that. Don't do that to yourselves. Don't fall for the okie doke. But here's the thing, y'all. We're gonna get right into it. I've become numb to it. You know, that's how we handled getting into Stadia at first. And we've dealt with this so many times. Now I'm numb to it. It's like, again, Groundhog's Day, 51st dates. I've seen this cycle repeated so many times. I'm just numb to it. Stadia does well. Somebody pulls some information out of their rear, like Jason Schreier did around the same time last year at the end of February. Pretty much said Stadia's closing shop, right? Stadia had failed. It's closing shop, right? And Stadia kept trucking along. Again this year, they're giving 100 plus games, just like they did the year before and the year before. You know what I'm saying? You know, but whatever. And now we got Business Insider doing the same thing. They came at it with a smarter approach. They waited a while. See, what Jason did is when SG&E closed down, he scrambled for a couple weeks, talked to a couple people, and the best he could derive was that Stadia paid a lot for his AAA ports, which that did harm Stadia, I believe. We talked about that in my open mic session. But it didn't really inform anybody of anything substantial about the future of the platform. All it did was hurt Stadia's efforts going into the future. You know what I'm saying? Which, you know, that's here and over there. That's a whole nother kit and caboodle. But Business Insider was a little bit smarter. They went and caveated this, put this in a pot, kinda, got a little bit of information here and there, mixed the truth with misinformation, and now you have the article that you have today. We're gonna break down why. That's our summary of what's going on. But this will not be it. This is inspired by the fact that Stadia, and Stadia alone, is not on par with Xbox and PlayStation. Have you ever thought of that? Excuse me. How come nobody is writing articles on Amazon Luna? I mean, I know they're in beta, but all of these are cloud platforms. All of them have a low ceiling, right? So just because you're in beta, you don't want to see some growth, right? So Why isn't anybody checking on Amazon Luna? How come we didn't see a flood of articles that talked about New World, which still to date, nothing has been mentioned about it coming to Luna, but it's available for GFN. I mean, to me, it makes sense why that's the case, and I don't blame Luna for it. I think it's the right thing to do based upon how much they paid to make this game and the fact that they don't want to throw this in a $5 or $6 subscription service. They want all their damn money back. You know what I'm saying? So in any subscriptions or any service that doesn't require you to buy the game, hell, you'll see New World on Stadia before you see it on Luna. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about in the near future. Why? Because the cloud gaming portion is just a 1% business. Stadia is a pretty cool, tool. I don't put it up on the exact same level as Stadia, but I like it. I like it, and I think it has a very promising future. I really think that between Stadia and Amazon, those are going to be the top platforms that have a lot of reach, just because of the overall business model and the fact that these guys have a footprint that nobody else has when it comes to their streaming services. I mean, can you imagine, again, on the YouTube side, PewDiePie, on the Twitch side, Ninja, now that he's back there. You know what I'm saying? Either one of them says, hey, look, I got the new Battlefield, or no, it's not used Battlefield. Look, I got the new Call of Duty. I got Call of Duty 19. Whatever the case may be, or Call of Duty may not be a good one either, but we'll just use that for all intents and purposes. I got the new Call of Duty 19. And I'm gonna allow 10 of y'all that are watching this stream right now to play with me right now. All you gotta do is have the game on Stadia, or you gotta have the game on Amazon Luna. That's a power that nobody has. Microsoft tried to get that power with Mixer, and then they lost Mixer. And then what they tried to do to settle it was get into a deal with Facebook. But that deal with Facebook had to fall flat on its face. Why do I say that? Because they threw Facebook under the bus and they were talking about entities getting into gaming that they don't trust. So that must have fell apart. That is a footprint in gaming already. That just puts Amazon and Google at the top. As long as they can get the games, that's all they got to be able to do. They can get the games, the multi-plat games that everybody wants to play. And PewDiePie and Ninja can just say, oh yeah, just 11 people. I'm gonna pull you out of my chat right now. Y'all can play. Nobody else can do that. Nobody else is gonna be able to do it on Twitch except for Luna gamers. Nobody's gonna be able to do that on YouTube except Stadia gamers. Stadia and Twitch dominate. I mean, not Stadia. Twitch primarily, and then YouTube dominate game streaming. That's a footprint that nobody else has. Because of that implementation. So even though I'm not the biggest fan of using Amazon, like I don't split my time between Luna and Stadia, I think Luna has a lot of promise because of its streaming platform. And I wouldn't be surprised that at the end of the day, Luna's at the top. Once they get their channels and stuff together, it wouldn't surprise me. But again, none of these streaming platforms were never meant to be on the same level of Xbox and a PlayStation out of the box. Hell, PlayStation Now and Xcloud aren't even on the same level as the Xbox and the PlayStation console, right? What PlayStation Now's at 2 million? I would reckon that I think PlayStation Now has more users than Xcloud. If you talk to people in the know of cloud gaming that test it regularly, including our good friend Project Storm, PlayStation Now and a lot of other entities, PlayStation Now plays better and is more consistent than Xbox on its new Xbox Series X server blades. See, everybody tried to jump into this thing and tried to leapfrog in some shape, form, or fashion, and they kind of fell flat. Stadia tried to leapfrog the projections a little bit and was hoping to get a little bit more traction by Phil Harrison showing up at the Gamer Ranks with Jeff Keighley with his knapsack and him doing the interview with IGN. You know what I'm saying? And they were doing, they knew what they was playing off of when they put those teraflops up there. But they knew in their heart of hearts that they weren't going to reach Xbox or PlayStation levels. That's why in their first year, at the end of 2020, 13 months after launch, they were only expecting 1 million active users. Now, I do believe that part. I think that's a legitimate number. Because it kind of coincides with what Jason Schreier was talking about. They were looking to have 1 million active users, and they only got 750,000, which is a lot more than people thought they would have had. You know what I'm saying? So with that said, we know what the consoles sell. You know what I'm saying? Their first 13 months, we talking about 7 million on the low end. Maybe 10 to 13 million if you PlayStation. We know what the console. So don't give me this garbage that Google or any of these cloud gaming platforms thought they were going to see the success of consoles. If they were, this is where I'm saying you gotta read between the lines and you gotta see the inconsistencies in the writing, which this Business Insider article has so many of them. If Stadia is such a failure, and if Stadia was trying to rocket off to where Xbox and PlayStation is, how come they only had projected 1 million after 13 months? When we know consoles are anywhere between 7 to 13 million in their first 13 months. Or maybe Business Insider just didn't do their research and didn't even realize it. You see how you got to be in the know with this stuff? You can't even trust, I'm not going to say all, because again, we're rolling out the carpet for one who does their due diligence. More on that coming soon. But you gotta double check these journalists. You have to do it in this day and age. Because they don't do their due diligence and they tell on themselves. They self-snitch all the time. Both can't be in the same space and same time. You can't want to propel to Xbox and PlayStation levels, but yet only have a projection of 1 million after 13 months. That makes no sense. Okay? It doesn't. But until they do, even though Stadia is the only one that goes through the scrutiny, Amazon doesn't go through it, GFN doesn't go through it, you know what I'm saying? Shadow, they don't even talk about that, even though they went into bankruptcy. You know what I mean? What's going on with Kareem Chaudhry and his cloud gaming efforts? How many people have left or moved there? They don't talk about none of that stuff. It's just Stadia. Excuse me. So they can't get, they're not willing to settle with, this is a cloud gaming platform. It's less than a 1% of the bit. No, Stadia has to do Xbox numbers, even though their projections were 1 million. It don't make any sense, but whatever. But until they do, until Stadia finally does what consoles do, and while Stadia, honestly, some of this stuff, I hate to say it, is somewhat self-inflicted because they keep things so close to the vest. I get where the angst comes from and why they do it, but sometimes they do it a little too much. But while Stadia keeps things close to the vest, this will not change. So this is going to keep happening for all of 2022 while we still keep playing the games and enjoying them. This is what's going to happen in 2023 while we keep playing the games and enjoying them. 2024, like cloud gaming isn't expected to maybe reach 4 or 5% until 2027, 2028. Going off the current projections. If they keep doubling, then, you know, maybe it'll be 13% by then. But this is going to keep happening. This is going to be the day in the life of a Stadia gamer. And what you have to do is you got to get used to it. And don't let all the naysayers who think they're vindicated off this article suck up the oxygen, your concentration. Again, when the articles dropped last year for SG&E, even though there were holes like Swiss cheese in them, that's what they thought too. Just let them be. Let them congregate and talk about a platform that they swear is dying, and they're just waiting for it to die, like some rogue relative that knows that you got a fat insurance policy. It's like if Stadia dies, they're gonna all get a check for like 40 million or something like that. You know what I mean? Let them just wait by the bed and until they think Stadia's gonna die, and then they'll succumb. You know, like what Insider Gaming. Remember Insider Gaming? Remember them? Formerly of Rooster Teeth, where Insider Gaming, I mean, they had the most notorious articles on Stadia, right? And Insider Gaming ended up kicking the bucket before Stadia. That was a fun video I did. So, let everybody stand by Stadia's bed, wait for it to kick the bucket while Stadia just gets up and like, oh, the hell you doing here? And Stadia just gets up and brushes his teeth and gets in the shower and gets dressed and goes about his business. Let them just stand by the bed and wait for Stadia to die and collect their $50 million insurance check. You just keep playing your games. And play your games and enjoy them. And when we stop getting the 100+ games in these early years and support starts to fall off, then let's get revved up. Until then, speculative pieces from publications who have shady track records on the platform don't get that type of burn here. What I mean by that, they don't get that type of focus. We're here to show the holes in what's being reported, but it don't get that. It don't get that type of absorption. Oh man, I see some of y'all out there, and I understand it's tiresome, it's cumbersome. You're tired of it, but I'm letting you know this is not going to end soon. You're going to have to just block out a lot of this stuff. I mean, the biggest response that I got on this was from my brothers in the DMs. We went back and forth a little bit, had a little bit of fun, and then I went about my business. Like, leave me alone. I gotta calibrate my L1 or no, my LG C1. Ooh, that's a hell of a TV. Jesus, I'll talk about that and tell him. But yeah, man. That's a hell of a TV. With that said, I was like, look, man, I'm done time. Because this didn't bother me. I'm going to be honest with you. When I heard the SG&E closure, and I had to think about it, and I called my security blanket Project Storm, then he'll rap, and then I thought about it, and then I was like, oh, this is what's going on. Then I started to get angry, because I'm like, why? Number one, why would Kotaku do this? And twist what's going on here. And two, which was more important to me because I went on a 2-week tangent about this. Why would Stadia give this to Kotaku? I mean, yes, it's a shame to see somebody want to twist the truth up and report bad information to its readers just for clicks, but that's how they keep the lights on. You're gonna expect. Look, if I see a rabid dog in the alley and it bites me, I think the first question you're going to ask is, why the hell did you walk down there? You know what I'm saying? So at some point in time, you got to understand what keeps these lights on for these publications. And then you got to go to the source and be like, why the hell did you even walk down that? Why would you give this to Kotaku to report? It's unbelievable. And I went on a 2-week tangent on it until Stadia cleaned it up. And I think they cleaned it up quite well. But they had to deal with the remnants of that all year. And they're going to have to deal with the remnants of this all year. This is just going to be the norm, y'all. But do what I do. Going into 2022, I said I'm not going to play this game on Twitter. I'm not going to play this game with the naysayers. We're just not going to do this. People want to be right instead of just reporting factual information and following the dots. They want to have whimsical over the top conversations and be right about it because they're projecting their emotions instead of doing some serious educated analysis. I'm not even going to play these games with these entities like I've done in the past. So that's why SLS featuring MM2K. That's why after I go on my tangents, that's just up for the members. Members, I feel like, will handle that responsibly. There's still some of you out there who want to go out there and fight with these people. You go ahead and do it. I'm not doing it. We're focusing here on this platform on informing people and dealing with the enthusiasts. When credible information comes our way that don't have holes in it like this, we're going to address it. You know what I'm saying? Just like how we addressed the SG&E thing, even though we didn't believe that SG&E meant the closure of Stadia, we did believe that the communication was horrific, and we believed that Stadia had to fix it immediately. And we stayed on that until it happened. So this is what's going to happen. You got to get used to it. Okay. All right. With that said, let me see here. Shout out to Vic. Shout out to Dustin and Rand too in the house. And don't forget, y'all, once I stop babbling, I'm going to get to the phone lines. I'm going to get what you guys thoughts on, what you guys think about this. Hold on. Vic, I'm trying to copy link. Geek the Sneakers in the house. What's up, Geek? Good to see you, brother. They do it again. See, this is what's funny. Vic, here, I want to show this. Vic, thank you for giving me this. Here's what Ars Technia put up there. But can you even get mad at this anymore? Let's put this up there. I think this is funny. Can you even be mad at this anymore? I'm not even mad. I'm drained of it. I'm drained of it. Like I'm not one that makes the same mistakes over and over again. Let these people be wrong. It's their track record that's on the line. Now I'm keeping the receipts. Don't get me wrong. I got all the receipts. That's how I'm doing what I'm doing today. But I'm not going to fight these people. And don't even get agitated by them. I mean, I think look, we've cleared enough brush on social media, on YouTube, and dealing with a lot of these article writers. We've cleared enough brush where I think we can just concentrate our efforts on providing factual content and saying, come here, just come to us, and hope that people find us. I think we got enough of a footprint to where people can find us. You know what I'm saying? But I wouldn't even get upset over this stuff because it's their track record on the line. And you know, every time I see stuff like this, you know what I think about? I think about Inside Gaming. Stadia's dead. Oh my gosh. Did you go see the Stadia Reddit? It got 3 upvotes. Yeah, the Stadia Reddit is showing you that Stadia's about to die right now. And here you turn around and they're gone. They're gone. They're eating grilled cheese and pimento loaf. Come on. And canned onions. Stop it. Victor says, so the Business Insider item is speculation. No, here's what it is. It's conjecture, mixed in with some facts, mixed in with some misinformation. I'm gonna show you what it is. And this is what Business Insider does. And unfortunately, fortunately for the fact-finding tour that we're going to go on, I'm going to show you that Stadia isn't the only victim of this. Business Insider is good with words, but they're bad with their intent. But I think that I think that's funny, Vic. I like that. Let me take it off the screen before somebody gets triggered. But I'm numb to it now. I'm numb to it now. Because when I see stuff like that, all I think of is GameIndustry.biz and some Business Insider, who they really went splat in the misinformation camp. I'm about to get into it. Dustin Aran says, I may have gotten upset earlier, but it was reactions from naysayers on Twitter. I expected this. We usually see this in February, March, and April until the news. Yeah. What happens is, and now we're starting to see the ebb and flow. We're going to have to get used to this. People with an agenda, when they see Stadia kicking it off at the beginning, like Stadia's had a good launch of 2022. They had a good launch with the LG and Extraction, and then we heard about the new games yesterday. And these are the same old tricks from 2020 and 2021. Whenever Stadia's on a good trajectory, excuse me, whoa, excuse the pig. Somebody comes up with a bad article to bring it down. These are the naysayers. No, there's naysayers and there's people with an agenda. There are naysayers who, for whatever reason, again, they're letting their emotions drive them forward. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they do have a love for the platform. Maybe they're just so discouraged by this information and they feel like I can't beat them, so I'm gonna join them. Whatever the case may be, whatever. They're separate from the people that have agendas. And trust me, as I've told you, thanks to my broadband bully brethren, I am connected to people that are connected to top brass at your favorite console makers. I showed you over numerous occasions on how, and I connected the dots and showed you how things like the whole Outriders thing, I knew that was coming to Xbox. There's another Xbox thing I'll reveal today. I had a great conversation with one of the sources that I normally go to, and we were talking about Mike Ybarra. And I got a video on MM2K videos. I'm gonna find it. I'll look for it. MM2K videos where, here, let me, because for those of you that follow my content, you would know that I prefer that Mike Ybarra be in charge of Xbox. I thought he was the one that, you know, I thought that, you know, I mean, Phil's a gamer too, but the vision that I feel like Mike Ybarra had, I felt was like more of the classic tradition as far as inspiring new game experience and stuff like that. I don't feel like Phil wants to do that. I feel like Phil is more worried about back end stuff as far as like diversifying things and messaging and, you know, things like that. And I think when it comes to gaming, he's really not inspired as far his heart and his energy isn't into helping to curate and discover that next great experience that we as gamers across the board can love and cherish. I feel like all the other heads of Xbox felt like that. Even Donnie D with some of the things that he did that may have fell flat, and he was only doing that because Bomber wanted them to do that. They wanted to take Xbox in the direction of TV. You know what I'm saying? And that's because they were in the battle of the living room. It was different times then. But even Donnie D, when he originally approached Obsidian, he was looking to make this grand scale game. And all the people before him, you know, they were all looking for new experiences. I don't get that from Phil. What I get from Phil is, look, we can be lean and mean financially. We're on a path that Satya likes, that Anne likes, that Satya's assistant, and I don't mean assistant in some movie type of way. Like she's big time, and assistants like that to CEOs are big time. Trust me, I know from experience. I got those, and I think her name is Ann Fergity. Is it Ann Fergity? Someone can look that up for me. Somebody said Stadia just tweeted. Shout out to Bada Bing. He said Stadia just tweeted. Let's see what Stadia tweeted. Let's see. But I want to find that video. That video I did of Mike Ybarra. Because Mike Ybarra, when he left Microsoft, it says, if you hear one thing, hear this. The Stadia hold on, we gotta put this on the mic. Shout out to Bada Bing, man. That's why I love you guys. I can always trust my members to keep me on my toes. Here it goes. If you hear one thing, hear this. The Stadia team is working really hard on a great future for Stadia and cloud gaming. We hope you agree, and we know the proof is in the playing. We're particularly proud to be offering 50 games to Stadia Pro members in February, with more than 100 titles to join Stadia in 2022, and plenty of free play days for everyone to enjoy. There's also more good features coming to Stadia 2. Stuff we can't talk about just yet, but we promise to share when we can. Have a great weekend, Stadians. Hold on. I can't put that under the Stadia. I'm not allowed to do it under the Stadia brand. I could get fired, y'all. I can get fired here. Let me put Stadia back in here. I can get fired, y'all. I can get fired, y'all. Oh, come on, man. Come on, man. There we go. I love this. I love this. Hashtag see what we do. Bow. Where's the fire at? Where's the fire at? All right. Talk that ish, Google. See what we do. We're done. We're done. Look at that. Thank you, Bada Bing, for putting that in there. And see, if you're a member, you can participate live on the show like that, like Bada Bing. Hit us with the heat. Great stuff. I love this. I love this. I love this. That was a hell of a response. Hell of a response. I could really end the stream on that. But we're not letting Business Insider off the hook, baby. We're not doing it. All right. How much time I got? Because I promised my wife we was gonna watch this movie. We went live at 6. All right, let me hurry up and go through this, y'all. We went at 6:30, so it's been about an hour. Okay, all right, good. So we got time. Okay. Let's do this. Let me get back over here. Dustin Oran says yes, clear, concise, and to the point. Snuff that out quick, fast, and then in a hurry. Okay, so let's do this. I've taken the liberty of. Let me show you guys something. I've taken the liberty because it's locked behind a paywall. If you notice, it's not only the paywall specialists that are funny, but the most egregious things as of late are the paywall specialists, right? And this is locked behind a paywall, but I've taken the liberty of getting it out of there so we can just look at this. So we're going to be going over this article quite routinely. But here's what I want to go over first. This is not Business Insider's first rodeo in Stadia falsehood land. This is an article from March 1st, 2020, where they say, Google's ambitious push into gaming is floundering and is due largely to too few games on its Stadia platform. Here's why developers have held back. No, get away from me. See, look, they're trying to sell me something every 5 minutes. And when you read this article, for those that remember, the article is suggesting that there are not enough indie games. Okay. Now, I want to say this, that for a new platform, I think Stadia launched with 20 something games. That's unheard of. That's why they were originally going to launch with 12 and do more later. But what happened was the games that they had were kind of older experiences, but under the Stadia tech. So people was like, no, we want more, we want more. It was all following the backlash from the communication of the AMA and some things that people didn't understand. And they were like, no, we want more games, right? So Stadia had 28 games, or 20, I want to say 24 games. At the time of this writing, they in March, they had 28 games, right? As of March 1st, they had 28 games. Right? You don't have a platform that launches with those many games. Now, granted, between I want to say January and March, the games were slowly trickling, right? And Stadia put its head down, and said, "Look, we're not gonna say much. Here's where we're coming from. This is what we got to say. Boom, we're done." But here's what Business Insider had to say. They said that it's that there isn't enough money, right? Stadia is not paying publishers enough money, right? So this is March of 2020. After their investigative work, their thing is Stadia is not paying developers enough money. I'm not going to get into the Jason Schreier thing. Just hold your horses. Stadia is not paying them enough money, right? Okay. They went to the same person that responded this time, the homie Patrick Sabol. Let me see here. What did Pat say? Okay, it says, when reached for comment, Stadia representative Patrick Sabol said, the publishers and developers we speak with regularly are very supportive and want Stadia to succeed. It's also worth pointing out that not every publisher has announced their games for Stadia so far, and more games will continue to be announced in due course. He also sent over a list of publishers, including major companies like EA, Bethesda, Ubisoft, 2K Games, and Rockstar Games. But the vast majority of indie hits are published by these massive publishers. Well, let's examine this a little bit, because this is where we get into the wordplay with Business Insider, where they really tell on themselves, okay? They say here, he also sent over a list of all the major publishers that Google is working with, including major companies like Bethesda or whatever, including. So what that tells me is what Business Insider did is they made it seem like that this is all that they sent them. If you don't follow the wording here, I've been dealing with government contracts, SLA, service level agreements, things like that for over 2.5 decades, right? We word things in a certain way when we want a certain result. We give it to legal to put the stamp of approval on. Legal either sends it back and says, fix this, fix that, or they say you're good to go. And as someone like myself, and I got to point all this stuff out because I'm not your average Joe Schmo that's just, walking around that just likes video games and ain't got nothing else to do with his life, okay? I have 25 plus years in corporate corporate business experience. It ain't got nothing to do with America, but corporate business experience. I worked with contracts, SLAs, RFPs, getting new business, work with legal. I've been in multi-million-dollar lawsuits representing our company and depositions and so forth. I've worked with other major corporations, including our competitors, on trying to reform Uniform Commercial Codes, UCCs. I can't tell you which one because I would give away where I work. Like, I gotta be very careful. So you're not talking to Joe Schmo, who just love video games so much, got a ultraviolet controller sitting on the wall, and maybe got some Mario flip-flops that one day said, you know what, let me buy a Yeti and let me start doing this. Or let me just, drum up PNTS network and let me just start putting some words together. No. There is tons of business experience from multiple levels behind this mic. Wordplay is very important. And see, a lot of y'all get duped on this wordplay because maybe you don't deal with it on your day-to-day jobs. And not to say what you guys do is important. There are people that do maintenance level things that make more money than me. And salute to you. You don't have to have a success. You don't have to do what I do in order to have a successful life. I'm not saying that, or to have meaning or all the other stuff. I'm just saying that all this stuff is in a particular lane that I have 2.5 decades of experience on. Particularly wordplay like this. So what this tells me is that what Business Insider did is that Business Insider caveated the list that they got from Stadia. And they told on themselves because they went from talking about, well, Stadia doesn't have any games because they're not, or Stadia is not giving anybody any money. Stadia, they went from saying Stadia is not giving anybody any money to saying now, well, what it is that Stadia isn't working with indie developers. I'm going to show you guys something. Let me see if I can find this. Give me a second. Here. We're going to get to the nitty gritty of this. I should have brought this out earlier, but there's so many great people with so many great resources on Stadia in regards to Stadia that a lot of you guys that just simply follow the mainstream media you're not aware of, or those that are naysayers or whatever, you guys overlook, and that's fine or whatever. That's why I tell the people that follow this platform that want to pivot off of facts, sometimes you just got to isolate yourself from some of this stuff because you're going to get pulled in multiple directions. Shout out to the homie Inled. Inled, very resourceful individual, fantastic, and does a lot of great stuff in regards to the Stadia community. He has this fantastic tool out here that follows all of the Stadia Pro games. It gives you how many months you could have been subscribed to Stadia Pro, available pro games, Metacritic score, the time to beat all these damn pro games. What else Inled got over here? And the total retail value of all these pro games. You know what I'm saying? And this is stuff that a lot of people don't even realize that are part of mainstream gaming that Stadia has offered. I just want to focus on the first 14 months of Stadia. That's all I want to focus on. Apply this. Okay. So, oh, Jesus Christ, I did it on the wrong side. I'm sorry, y'all. No, it didn't translate over here. Crappity dappity. I gotta do it again. Trappity dappity. All right, let's go over here. Crappity dappity. All right, let me get back to my stream. Let it oscillate. Just to make myself feel special. Just let it oscillate. Hold on one second. I got my good brother Shout out to my homie Lizard. He's like, you all right, brother? I kill me with this. Oh, totally. Laugh all loud. Don't this feel like deja vu? Cut it out. How you been? It's my bro. Very talented artist too. Man, people just don't get their flowers, man. All right, so okay. Oh, hold on. I gotta check one more message. I'm sorry, y'all. Like, hold on, you're live on air, sucker. Woo, hold on. I think our person just confirmed. No problem. Sorry for the delay. Finally had a chance to. Woo! Caught your article. I thought it was great. Caught it. Oh. Okay. All right. So let me do this. I'm gonna go to. Okay, hold on. Yep. Oh, wow. I'm getting a lot of information. Oh my God. Jeez. Okay. All right. I gotta read this after the show. Oh, I ain't got time for this. All right, let's get back to the show. Woo, my God. Oh, that DM was getting out of control. All right, so here's the Stadia Pro games for the first 14 months of the platform. There were 61 Pro games with an average Metacritic of 77.2. They're taking you 490 hours to beat the games with a retail value of 1,578. The reason why that I put this up here, my friends, is because, as we already know, Jack Buser, Phil Harrison spoke to there being about 400 games. Here, let me see. I'm gonna look for that article as well. We're gonna be doing a lot of this. Let me see. I think it was NASDAQ. No. I'm gonna put Stadia 400 games. Okay, The Verge has that. I don't think I like Verge's version. Stadia exec says 400 games are in development. Okay, this is based upon. All right, maybe we'll take Verge's information, even though way back when they, it has. Google says it's got 400 games in the pipeline for Stadia. Google has around 400 games on the way for its Stadia game streaming service, according to Jack Buser, the service director of games. Buser gave the figure in an interview with Mobile Syrup, where he said the company has a roadmap with about 400 games in development from 200 developers. Buser stopped short of giving specific information on individual games, but he said that most would be arriving in 2021 and beyond. Yeah. The list of games maintained by Android Police, however, includes around 50 unreleased games that have been announced for the service, alongside another that are available. Okay, so here's the thing to think about. He says, Buser said that Google's planning for Stadia extends into 2023 at this point. We're looking many years into the future. Yeah. So here's the thing. The games that were looked in, or that were already developed by the time this. Hold on, where's... No, that's the wrong one. I don't want to get ahead of myself. Hold on. Oh, crap. Where's the article at? Jesus, I must have did something stupid. Hold on, because I don't want y'all to see that one yet. That one is... Oh! So much is the life of a content creator. All right. So they're telling you, Business Insider is talking to you and projecting to you in a way that is like, look, this is matter of fact, and this is what's happening. They say that they talked to experts. They say, we spoke with game developers and publishers who said there are two main reasons their games aren't on Stadia. Google didn't offer them enough money, and they don't trust a mercurial company to stick with gaming in the long term, right? Okay, so they put that in the bullet, but when you read the article, they make it seem like that this is a widespread issue for Google, and not to expect a bunch of games coming from the platform. They even say after Patrick Sabolt responded and said, look, no, we're not getting this from the chunk of our developers. Is every developer going to be happy? No, every developer is not going to be happy. But the bulk of our developers are happy. You know what I'm saying? And Patrick Sabolt again says the publisher developers we speak with regularly are very supportive. Now, when they try to rebut here, they say all of these so-called AAA blockbusters, the video games equivalent of major film Transformers or whatever, several indies show up on the list of upcoming games, including Superhot, whatever. But it says the absence of these games at the launch of Stadia last November and their continued absence in ensuing months speaks to Google's inability to attract developers ahead of launch. Let me explain something to you. Just like we saw here, Google's planning is years in advance. I can end the stream on this or let you know how shady Business Insider is. Can I read that to you again? The absence of these games at launch last November and their continued absence in the ensuing months speak to Google's inability to attract developers ahead of launch. Again, they're talking in absolutist terms about things that they don't understand. It's obvious. As we saw here, as Jack Buser informed everybody via Mobile Syrup, these games are negotiated years in advance. Now, maybe there's some games that they feel like the audience may want, that a few of them they plug in and they try to get, we weren't able to negotiate that game, let's get that in the pipeline or whatever. But these games are negotiated years in advance. Oh, that game is coming out in 2023. What's up with that? Yeah, we're on pace, da-da-da-da-da. Google don't just say, okay, your game is coming out next week. Can you put it on the platform? Stadia is its own unilateral platform. It takes time to develop with it. If Business Insider would have done their homework, they would have understood that what Google did is their first mission was to attract people like me, people like Project Storm, the tech enthusiasts. They were launching with the tech enthusiasts. And then as they were launching with the tech enthusiasts, and as more and more people were getting used to the Stadia development kit, you were going to see more games. But what Business Insider tried to do is they tried to make you believe that Stadia was having problems getting people to work on the platform at a large scale. But here's the end result. The end result is that the deals that were negotiated in advance resulted in 61 pro games. And when I individually counted these pro games, 41 of them were indies. So again, this article that talks about Stadia having problems with indies and them just focusing on focusing on AAA games, we all know that's baloney. Just in the pro games alone, the first 14 months, from my count, you got 41 indie titles. You could have got more. Business Insider has a horrible habit of talking absolutist and long-term about things and trying to make things look like it's a systematic problem instead of a one-off situation when they don't know what the hell they're talking about when it comes to gaming. Period. This isn't just symptomatic of Stadia. Remember this? This is what I was trying to hold from you. No, that's not it. Where the hell is it at? Am I going crazy? It seems like that my links are just disappearing on me. Or maybe it's me. Here we go. Amid reports of production issues, the PlayStation 5 is expected to be in low supply this holiday. Now, granted, yes, the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series consoles were in lower supply than the demand. The demand, partially due to COVID, was higher than it's ever been, right? But both console makers were having issues because of the chip shortage to meet demand. Business Insider, again, with his salacious articles that are caveated, that are focused on whatever their intent is at the moment, tried to make this seem like a PlayStation 5 issue. And they told you that the PlayStation 5 would be in low supply this holiday, scaring those potentially that wanted a PlayStation 5 into thinking that, oh my gosh, it's going to be in too low of a supply. Nobody's going to be able to get one. But maybe the Xbox will be in supply. It's just you got to read this article. The order in which this article is created follows that motif. What actually ended up happening? Up until holiday 2021, PlayStation in many counts was outselling the Xbox close to 2-1. Right now, it's estimated that the gap in performance between Xbox and PlayStation is Xbox is around 12 million, PlayStation is around 17 million. That is a lower pace than PlayStation 4 due to the chip shortage, but it's significantly higher than Xbox. Reading this article, you wouldn't get that from this motif. You know what I'm saying? They don't explicitly come out and say it. It's what you derive from the article when you read it in totality. That's the problem with Business Insider. That's why they can't be trusted. Hopefully now it all makes sense. As far as, there's new Madden content. I just got an email that popped up. Now there's, hopefully that makes sense as far as why you can't take what Business Insider says with a grain of salt. Let's go further. I want to talk specifically about this article. Here it goes right here. When you break down this article, there are several things that you got to think of. Now, here's the topics that we went over that I kind of didn't, use my flashiness to go over with you guys. Business Insider's history with Stadia. We talked about how they tried to make it seem like that Stadia wasn't giving developers money, which we know they were giving developers money per what Jason Schreier reported, right? And B, that there wasn't efforts to bring in the indie developers, that they had a problem with working with them at launch. When the games were negotiated, the developers said, okay, this is when we want to put the game on your platform. And Stadia obliged. Did you have some one-off situations where somebody may have thought, you know what, I think I deserve more? Or, I think you should give me a fur coat over this because you're Google? Yeah, you get that everywhere. But this implication that, again, the absence of games at launch of Stadia last November, they launched with 20-something games, which is unheard of for a new platform that's launching. The absence of these games at launch at November and their continued absence in the ensuing months speaks to Google's inability to attract developers ahead of launch. These games were planned out years in advance. By the time everything was said and done, and this isn't all the games, the indie games. I'm pretty sure there were plenty of indie games that by the end of December weren't even in Stadia Pro as of yet. That's my guess. But we had, out of the 61 games that were offered through Stadia Pro, By my count, at least 41 of them were indie games. Right? So what are we talking about here? Look at these games here. Like again, let's talk about them. Thumper, Guilt. Steam World Dig 2, Steam World Quest. Serious Sam Collection, that's in it. Split Link, Stacks on Stacks. Steam World Heist, The Turing Test. Let me see. Would you consider Little Nightmares? I think that's an indie developer. Super Hot. Crata. Steam World Dig. Orchid Must Die 3, West of Loathing. Maybe not Strange Brigade, but Kona. Just Shapes and Beats. Rock Ages 3. Super Bomber. Well, no. That's Konami. Hello Neighbor. Gunsport. Ember. I mean, the list goes on and on. We can keep going through this. Come on. Like, stop it. Okay? So that narrative that they pushed, that again, you had the mainstream media thinking and mainstream media consumers thinking that, oh, this is Business Insider, prestigious name. They must be on to something. After the dust settled, time has shown that they got this egregiously wrong. Egregiously wrong. And they contradicted themselves. In the same story, they try to tell you Google ain't giving no money, but Google ain't supporting indies. Like which one is it? Google ain't giving nobody no money. Okay, well, maybe they're giving money to the AAA people, but they ain't giving money to the indie people. Out of the 61 pro games, 41 from my count at least are indie titles, and by the end of 2020, Stadia and games it launched outpaced the Xbox One its first 14 months. Stop it. Stop it. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? Unbelievable. This is the entity that everybody's losing their lunch over. When I saw Business Insider, I said, oh man, come on. This is like Hustle Man showing up to my house trying to sell me some pigeons. Oh no, this is 100% chicken breast, chief. I'm not falling for that. Hustle Man, get the hell out of here. Y'all getting Hustle Man by Business Insider. Let me continue on. So let's talk about, we talked about the history. We talk about Business Insider's history with the industry, how they muffed up what was going on with Sony. They tried to make it seem like that Sony was uniquely experiencing these chip shortages. Like, oh, it's going to be hard supply, and they had to you know what I'm saying? And here's what Sony even had to do during the article. Oh, they'll put up the rebuts, but then they'll throw something else out there and make it seem like that the rebuts are full of BS when it comes to when the dust settles. We always find out that Business Insider's on the wrong side of the information. So, let me see here. A Sony representative, after they made it seem like that Sony uniquely was like there was going to be low amounts of PlayStation 5. Yeah, was it shorter than demand? Yes, but that's with both consoles. But a Sony representative offered the following statement. While we do not release details related to manufacturing, the information provided by Bloomberg is false. We have not changed the production number for PlayStation 5 since the start of mass production. And when the dust settled, right? They made some changes here and there, but again, we have not changed production numbers for PlayStation since the start of mass production. And the proof is in the pudding. There were enough PlayStation 5s out there to the first several months on the market to outdo the Xbox Series consoles, both of them, 2-to-1 in many markets. If my memory serves me right, for a while it was 2-to-1. The projections. That's Business Insider. All right. So we're going to chop this up into 3 parts. What is old news? What's new? And the super misleading. Okay. All right. So let's start with the old news. Here's what's old news. Let's go back to the article. What's old news is Stadia's white labeling efforts. Most of us that are familiar with cloud gaming, that have been around for a while, even people that kind of like are pessimistic about Stadia's efforts, they all know that the white labeling efforts were going to be increased. Or started. Some people didn't even know that it was happening. And I admittedly myself until it was mentioned in the SG&E letter. What's also mentioned in the article, what they tried to make it seem like it's some new relevant news, is Jack Buser being given a promotion. Not that he left Stadia, it was given a promotion. Jack Buser's role in the first year or two was more of a project manager role. So if you don't work in corporate, you don't understand what I mean by this. And I remember when this is just standard practices of business. We had a huge client that was coming on board. And the client was going to be just one client. And we have tens of thousands of accounts. But this one client was so huge, they were going to be 40% of our business. And so they wanted certain amenities, which we were like, oh, hell yeah. You know what I'm saying? You're raising our business 40%. Oh, yeah. So that required a call center in regards to what we were doing for them, all this other stuff, their own individual, they were their own, normally our account specialists, the people are embedded with those, within larger teams, and they handle other accounts too. Again, like I said, we got tens of thousands of accounts. But they were like, no, even though their activity wasn't as large, it's wasn't 40% of our, even though even though they were 40% of the business as far as the revenue that we were going to derive from them, their activity wasn't 40% of the activity. So they wanted to know who our best account holders were. They wanted 5 of them. They wanted them taken from our pool of accountants. And they wanted them all on one specific team just to only handle that one account. 40% uptick in business, kind of hard to fight that. We scrambled for a little bit, but we made it happen. And doing this, because at the time I was part of the call center. I managed our call center at that time. I managed managers, and one of the groups that were under me was our call center. So, and here's the crazy part about it. They took our best call agents, which is fine. We were good. My manager was good at training new people, just as long as she got the adequate time. They took our best call people, but they wanted us to train the account reps to handle calls as well, which was new for them. So we did that, and in between that, there was a project lead who was on the, she didn't report to me. She didn't report to me. She just was unilateral, and her job was to learn the accountant side, to learn the phone side and to make sure that progress was being made and reported to upper management, right? She was going to help facilitate this new thing that we were doing to help jumpstart it and help get things going. So she kind of was like in her own individual space. She didn't report to me, even though she was learning call center stuff. She didn't report. They didn't even know who the manager of this area was going to be yet. So I she managed it. She managed the effort until everything was said and done, and they felt like they were in a good space. Once they felt like they were in a good space, that project manager role, and she was promoted to something else. And then they had a manager and whoever come and take over, somebody that was already managing. They came and took over and ran that area. Happens in corporate business all the time. Jack Buser's position, and again, I get where a lot of people may say, "Oh, phooey, that doesn't make sense to me." Well, you're not part of the corporate infrastructure. I'm sorry. There's another way to put it. I can't sugarfoot around it. But Jack Buser's position, who he didn't report to Phil Harrison, he was there before Phil Harrison. At a project management level, his job was just to make sure that there was a slot of games put on the platform. And I guess once everybody felt like, and you know that, okay, we're off to a good jump start, they utilized his efforts and promoted him on cloud-related things, in which when they gave him his promotion, they spoke of Stadia. They said his experience is going to help trickle down to Stadia. It's not like that they were obscure of Stadia in this guy's promotion. So the mention of Jack Buser leaving Stadia is done in an absurd fashion. Just like in the absurd fashion that we've seen earlier when they were talking about PlayStation being in short supply and Google not paying anybody, or there's no indie developers that are going to be on the platform. Even though all that stuff was pre-negotiated, that we see after the fact when the smoke settled that was the farthest thing from the truth. We also knew that Stadia didn't want to own any studios after SG&E. And of course, because now you've laid people off, I'm gonna put the business aspect of it out there for you. When you lay people off, like say, okay, all right, let me use some examples of some of my people in the chat. I get to pick on you in the chat for y'all being here. So me and Bada Bing, shout out to Bada Bing for showing me that tweet live on here. I love that, baby. I love it. Me and Bada Bing. No. We're gonna switch it up. I like giving the power to my members. Dustin Aran, the postmaster, and Bada Bing, and Geek to Sneak. The three of them have a business. It's a hot dog business, right? And they hire me and Vic as vendors. Vic is the head of mustard. He's the head of mustard spraying. I'm the head of bun warming, right? One day they call me in the office and they say, yo, MM2K, we just don't think it's efficient anymore that you and Vic are doing separate positions. Like, somebody can spray the mustard and somebody and the same person, why can't they warm the hot dog buns as well? We're sorry, MM2K, we're gonna have to let you go because we're consolidating that position to Victor, right? I get Geek to Sneak, Bada Bing, and Dustin Aran can't then again within a certain amount of time. It depends on the state. Some state it's like 8 months, other states it's a year, some it's 14 months, 16. It depends on the state. They can't then turn around and hire someone. Geek to Sneak can't walk in and say, yo, I found this StadiaDosage cat that we're gonna hire. No, I found Squid's Gaming that we're gonna hire. He's gonna be the head of buns. If I find that out, guess who's getting the fattest check known to man? So the way that, again, for those of you that are not part of the business infrastructure, especially in the States, hear me out. You're getting an education here, free of charge. When you lay somebody off, that position has to dissolve and stay dissolved for a certain amount of time. So of course, after they closed SG&E, they weren't in the app. They didn't have the appetite to hire anybody else. They couldn't. This is why, again, you got to be very careful. It's dangerous out here. People that are excellent at wordplay, which Business Insider is, you got to be very careful with listening to what they write because it's misleading. I could have put this under the misleading slide, but it gets worse than this. Of course. So that's why I'm wondering, who are these employees that they're talking to? Is it Jeffro that's working in the lunch line? Who is it? Because anybody that's really close to the main decision-making protocols here, they would know that. That wouldn't even come up in the article. I wouldn't even give that information to Business Insider. Of course Google didn't have the appetite of picking nobody else up because you can't for a while. Now, depending upon the state, I don't know if that time is exhausted. But that's why when you hear me talk about new acquisitions, I say Google, not necessarily Stadia. Because Stadia is a business line within Google. Google may be able to get away, depending upon, again, the laws of the state. Google, the parent company, or Alphabet, the parent company, may be able to get away with hiring EA or buying EA. But Stadia can't do it because they just got rid of all their people last year. The time may be coming up where they're allowed to hire again for development positions. But when you let people off their jobs, when they're purged from their jobs, when they become synergies, is the corporate term in the States. When you synergize people on their jobs, you're saying, you know what? I can't utilize this position anymore. It's not so much to have to do with the person, because if the person was the problem, they get terminated. Again, you're getting an education from someone who has hiring, who's had, I do project management stuff now, hiring and firing responsibilities. So you're not just listening to anybody that just picked up a mic and said, okay, I got a Blue Yeti, let's go, power it up. When you synergize a position, you're not necessarily synergizing the person, even though it does become practice that you do go after positions to where it's your weakest performers. So let's just say if you want to get rid of, let's just say if the reason why they got rid of me on the hot dog stand is because I was too slow warming the buns. You know what I'm saying? And Vic was the stronger performer. So they said, we just going, again, it's supposed to be about the position. Companies do strategize and tend to synergize their weakest performers, but it's supposed to be about, I don't need these many positions anymore, or I don't need this specific position. And when you got rid of the entire development team, you said that for the moment, for the legal moment, the legally allotted moment, I don't need developers. So the fact that that's even in the article, to me, just tells either one or two things. Either the sources that they have are not that reliable, not that connected for that to even be uttered, or two, you got some embellishing going on here. Neither of it is good. But still, that's old news. And the final old news is retention was an issue. Now, a lot of people may not feel like they didn't know this. this wasn't news in 2020, except I came across it. I discovered it. I just never released it. I told y'all, I'm not the type of person that does the ambush journalism, or, you know what I mean? Like, oh, here goes a secret. And again, I'm nothing against, I mean, maybe by using the word ambush journalism, I'm trying to belittle those that may do stuff like how Jason Schreier does. I'm not, you know, if that's your cup of tea, fine. I just try to inform people of how things work and give you a likely projection of where things are headed. Sometimes you give a better idea of where those things are going by telling certain business secrets. But not always. And sometimes business secrets just get told because they're secrets, and that's juicy. And it's not an indicator of any long-term stuff, you know. With that being said, I knew in 2020 that Stadia was having a retention problem. How did I know that? Because I know that in April of 2020, when they released the free tier, they saw an uptick of over 1,000%. Close to double that. I'm not going to put the exact number out there, but close to double of 1,000%. It led to games like Destiny 2, that went from like 5, 6, maybe 9,000. It led them to go to 30-something thousand, right? Then, like within a month and a half, it just slowly dwindled down back to the levels that where it was at, where you started, and when I say 30,000, I mean new engagements. Like you started seeing new engagements happening at like close to double 1,000% levels. And then it started going to the norm. And it did that fairly quickly. By June, like again, April 1st, you started seeing it. By the first week of June, then you started seeing it get close to normal levels, and then it stayed at normal levels until December. That's a retention problem. To where you couldn't keep that activity going up. And that's because, again, cloud gaming is a fickle commodity at the moment because most people just don't trust it. And then too, if you want people to, like, if you want gamers I feel like that mad rush where people that already have consoles, they have the way that they want to play, and they're not sold on cloud gaming yet, so they just wanted to try it out. And they tried it out and they moved on. If you can provide me with the output that I'm used to in games and in quality, I'm going to move on. I'm used to paying $400 or $500, and when I say me, I'm talking about the average gamer. Used to paying $400 or $500, so I'll tinker with this, and then I'll go about my business. Like, there has to be some type of incentive that these new gamers can relate to. So if it's not somebody that's already part of your target demo, because I feel like you had a lot of people outside of your target demo go for this. But if you had people within your target demo, if you had people outside of your target demo, or the majority of the ones that are bolstering your new activity, you gotta have something that they relate to. What were the brand new titles that were dropping in April? How did they perform? I don't think performance would have been much of an issue because at the time you still had your PlayStation 4 and your Xbox Ones out there. or what new games were coming out. And then on top of that, you had Digital Foundry with its misleading information and its misleading articles that they had to be, they had to readjust. So I think it was just a matter of that. 2020, I think, was a year that Stadia really didn't have the firmest grip on the direction it should go, and demographics and things like that. It didn't have the firmest grip. And 2021 seemed to be a year, and 2021 and beyond seems to be a year to correct that. To say, all right, look, we were in so many directions with this thing. Shout out to Geek to Sneak with the $5 super chat. I'm gonna get to you, brother. But you had so many people say, all right, well, maybe we should develop games. Maybe we should do this. Maybe we should do that. And they have the connects, all the good stuff. And there was just so many directions they were going into, and they didn't have a firm grip on the direction, the major directions that they should be focused on. So when you listen to all that and you realize all that, the retention thing isn't a shock. And I knew about it in 2020, and I think everybody else started to understand that was going on in 2021 when this data from Sensor Tower was coming, and then more information came out to where we found out that Stadia had 600,000 users in the month of December. Them 600,000 users didn't stay. So the retention problems were known, widespread in 2021. I don't know who else besides me knew, but I knew in 2020. All right, so that's not new news. We go to the homie Geek to Sneak. Geek to Sneak with the $5 sticker. I appreciate you, good brother. Thank you so much. I appreciate your support as always, brother. What is new? Well, what is new is Phil reports through a new chain. That's what's new. I didn't realize this. But we could never get, and I've always wanted one, but we could never get a org chart for any of these cloud companies. They don't want to tell us who's working where. Shout out to Xbox though. When Phil Spencer was made the CEO of gaming after the Activision proposal, they put an org chart out there. I would love to see this for everybody else. And not just Stadia, because I'm not going to sit there and say because Xbox did it, Stadia has to do it. No, Stadia is a cloud gaming platform, which is a niche business model right now. I want to see that though with all the platforms. I want to see, because I think, which was not even reported widely, that I think that the head of GFN, since GFN Retail came out, I think the head of GFN has changed, right? I could be wrong on that one. Now, I know there was some people that put out some information about some changes that were happening at Luna, where the head of Luna left and somebody else from Luna left. But no, I can guarantee you there was more movement than that. I want to see it all. Like, if we're going to report on cloud gaming, let's report on cloud gaming in totality. So any litmus that, I don't want to hear the beta, whatever. If you're asking me to pay money for the services that you render, there should be certain expectations. And if you're going to watch one, watch them all. I want to see the org charts for all of them. But that is what's new. Phil Harrison reports through a new chain. It went from, hold on, let me see here. Let me see if I can find it. Let's see if we can find it. Phil. See if I can find Phil. Phil. Okay, here it goes right here. Let me show you something. Executives and employees for the Stadia products have also shifted roles. Phil Harrison, the former PlayStation exec Google tapped to run its, now reports to the company's head of subscriptions. Let me see if I can find Phil again. Phil. Oh, maybe it's Harrison. Let's try Harrison. Phil. I don't know why I keep doing that. Okay. And to explicitly talk about it even more, Harrison, who previously reported directly to Rick Osterloh, the devices and services chief, now reports to Jason Rosenthal, Google's vice president of subscription services. Two people familiar said. Okay. So Harrison went under Rosenthal, and it says in summer after Google closed its internal game studios, the division was reorganized under the subscriptions and services. Yeah, so you had a big reorg through Stadia, one in which led to the result of John Justice leaving. Now, whether John was let go or he left on his own, we don't know. But the reorg benefited and pissed off a lot of people. So this isn't new. But I mean, as far as people shifting, but what is new is now who Phil reports through, okay? And I would like to see the org chart under Phil as well, as well as all the other ones. Another thing that is new is Stadia had, which to me, I think is like the biggest takeaway from this. 25%. It says Google also struggled to hold on to users. Harrison and other executives set a goal to reach 1 million monthly active users by the end of 2020, which they missed by about 25%, according to a person familiar with the conversations. Retention was a real problem, this person said. So I would have never guessed that Google Stadia was at, I would have never guessed that they were at 500,000 active users, let alone 750,000 active users at the end of 2020. They said 1 million monthly active users. Now, with all the data that we've extrapolated, the conversation that we had with Jack, we lowballed significantly. That's huge. 750,000 active users. Now, if you were selling, and this could have led to some of the angst by people like Strauss Zelnick or whatever, who were sold on, okay, we're going to get to 1 million active users, and maybe they were told by the summer they would do that, and maybe by the summer they were only at 500,000 or whatever, but by the end of the year they got to 750,000 active users or whatever. I could get where that could have caused angst with your partners and stuff like that. But for a service like this, which is part of a 1% business, where, again, let's do the math. Normally a console, we're going to lowball it, has 7 million. Nah, I did that wrong. A console normally has 7 million people, but we're going to say 750,000 divided by 7 million. That's 10%. So in that first year, a 1% business was able to get monthly active saturation at 10% of the consoles. Again, maybe not what you sold to your partners and why that may have caused some angst. But for a 1% business, that's great. Now, should they be at $1 million now? I think we've seen significant growth with Stadia, and they may be over that $1 million now. Heck, maybe at 1.5. Who knows? That's fantastic. If we do the math, I'm going to say, let's just say 70%. This is all hypothetical. It's 1.5 million times 0.7. Okay, so that 1,050,000. Let's just say if 70% of the people on Stadia have Stadia Pro, which I don't know if that's too much, too low, whatever the case may be, but I think that's a fair percentage. 70%. We're gonna multiply that by $10. I could have done that in my head, but that's $10,500,000 that they would be making if Stadia was at 1.5 million on total active users, and 70% of them had Stadia Pro. Now, again, those numbers could be way off. They could be way short or whatever. But that then makes sense on why when Stadia switched the Pro model from, here, we want to cut you a check up front, to, no, we're going to allot 70% of this pie, which, again, let's do the math again, times 0.7. So that would be 7,350,000. We're going to allot 70% of this pie to those that are, making money. I mean, that are getting active users on their games. We're gonna reward you on a sign-in or whatever you call it basis, like as long as someone boots up your game. And no wonder why during the keynote it was referenced that was going to be used to bolster AAA development growth into Stadia Pro. If you're talking that type of money, 7,300,000, you know what I'm saying? I could be way off, I could be way over, I could be short or whatever. But if we're talking in the millions range, that could explain why they said already halfway through the month, developers in Stadia Pro are seeing more money than the old model. Okay? Interesting stuff. Here's the questionable info, though. Right? And we're kind of going over a little bit. I don't want to get too far over. But here's the questionable info that was in, or we'll see, the super misleading. let's not even parse any words. The super misleading. But shout out to the chat. Geek the Sneak says, no doubt. I just want to know when Baldur's Gate 3 is going on sale. Laugh out loud. I can dig it, bro. I can dig it. Here's where the super misleading information comes in. Again, it was contradictory info of Stadia offering too much money, while their overblown report that Stadia didn't offer enough money. They do that again here. They talk about how Jason Schreier, they had the gall, and this is where, follow me here, because my stint as a writer on the internet, I have enough experience where I can break this down for you and explain to you how this happened. As a deal confirmed, unveiled, the first games was known in development, announced last year. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna see if I can, because it's marked in blue. I can't remember the exact wording on stage that the game developer Bloomberg reported. Okay, yep. So when you write an article and you want to get your SEO up, meaning how it's picked up on Google or sites like Google, search engines, There are certain things that you have to do. You use things like WordPress. We selling the goods here. You get the free education here. When you use things like WordPress, if you got certain plugins, they'll help you with that. They'll tell you, look, your SEO sucks. You got to do better. Here's the things that you want to do. Cut down on some of these type of sentences, these type of phrases. Here in this box, put this here because this is going to be the part that is going to show up in the card when people go look up and search things and all that other stuff. And last but not least, in your article, you need to have references to previous articles. That'll help. That'll help it up because I don't know what the algorithm or whatever the case may be with the SEO, but for some reason that helps, right? So because this is a longer article, they would, it's quite possible that the SEO would have favored more internal references. You know what I'm saying? Where it says, hey, look, you're not telling us. You're not referencing your previous articles in this one. You need to do that. It'll help the article out a lot as far as its discoverability, right? So in this article where they talk about how Stadia paid too much money, as reported by Bloomberg, they talk about in this article how Stadia was given too much money to developers, because that's what Bloomberg reported. In the same article, oh, here it goes. No, that's not it. They also talk about how Stadia wasn't giving enough money. They made the same mistake that they made in their original article that I showed you earlier. The same mistake. The absence of these games at launch show that Stadia, is having problems. They're not paying people enough, but they're giving a whole bunch of money, but they're not paying people enough. Which was all false. It was already debunked. But they still put the contradictory, debunked information inside of this article because it would help their SEO for one, and for two, most of the readers wouldn't be the wiser. Most of you that are out there on the mainstream media consumption tour, y'all don't realize that Bloomberg's article on Stadia in regards to it not doing well getting indie games, that information was false. So they could get away with this. They put this back in here, this link right here, to that article that was debunked, because it helps the SEO. There's no other reason to put it in there because it's contradictory if the reader is keen to what's going on. And that's what Business Insider is relying on, that you guys are not keen to the state of Stadia, that you see Business Insider and you say the truth. I had one of my homies in the DM tell me, this dude said Business Insider is lying. If they were in front of me, I would have slapped the skin off their face, because they have lied before. And I had to remind this person that they lied about PlayStation. When I told them that, they shut the hell up. Like, we can't be this caught up in trying to win an emotional argument. I want to be informed. It's not about me being right or wrong. I just want to be informed. I want to go wherever the information goes. So if the information that I was, acclimated to was wrong, then yeah, steer me right. But if the information that you're trying to show me in contrast is wrong, I don't want to deal with it. And I don't care about your emotion about wanting to be right. I just want to be informed. And I want to inform other people. So this copy and paste armchair journalism that we do, where we don't vet what we think about this but we realize it happened here, or we forget that it happened here. This is how these articles get away with this crap. Because we caveat articles and we caveat information to our own desire. They didn't do it just once, they did it twice. It's just amazing. It's just amazing what they get away with. They didn't do it once, they did it twice. Actually, the same author. Well, no. Same author did it where they misinformed or they sent off the wrong aura about PlayStation, and the same author did the same thing about Google as well. Also, the next questionable thing is few AAAs on the level that the platform promised. Oh, Lord Jesus. AAAs. Here it goes, right here. It says Google continues to bolster the Stadia platform with new games, but there are on the level, but few that are on the level gamers were promised, and some customers have grown frustrated by what they see a lack of a communication by Google. This is their proof. Reddit. A Reddit poll from 15 days ago where they said, as a result of Microsoft purchasing Activision Blizzard and Google's almost complete lack of communication in regards to their vision for the future of Stadia, I've decided to hold off buying any more games. So the person asks, with 371 votes, what are you going to do? And guess what the number one, despite this doom and gloom, I'm comparing a cloud platform 1%. Now what's going on with a console? Just get a console. 140, the majority of those polled, or the number one answer rather, is I'm sticking with Stadia and will continue to purchase games no matter what happens, I guess they were trying to say. Some said I'm going to continue until the end of the year, until the end of 2020. So still, you got 210 people over the 161 that are still favoring supporting Stadia. And this is the best that you get, but this is off of Reddit, for crying out loud. This is the best that you could do to prove your point that, again, the customers have grown frustrated by what they see as lack of communication from Google. That's like me going to Amazon about the LG C1, picking out the worst article out there and saying, some customers are saying that the LG C1 is the worst monitor ever or worst TV. Stop it. But it gets worse. Gets worse. Here's the worst one. And I've been bouncing this one with my friends. And we're like, oh my God, this is unbelievable. It gets worse. Oh gosh. Current and former employees said the priority was now on proof of concept work for Google. Google Stream. Again, now for those of you that have not read the article, the white labeling effort is supposedly called Google Stream. That may be the case. And securing white label deals. One estimated about 20% of the focus was on the consumer platform. This is where their wordplay is the most egregious. I want you to check this out. And trust me, someone under legalese or trying to send a specific email or something like that, or a communication that's meant to distort the truth. They do it in business all the time. They practice this. Current and former employees said the priority was now on proof of concept work for Google Stream and securing white label deals. One estimated about 20% of the focus was on the consumer platform. Who was this one? Is the one a current or a former employee? Why is that important? Because a lot of this article is derived from things that happened immediately after SG&E closed, between the time SG&E closed and between the time where Stadia had its keynote. What? Stadia had a keynote? Oh yes, they did. Yeah. What are we talking about? Let me see if I can find that link. Let me see if I can find that link for you. La da dee, la da da. Oh, I don't have the Stadia keynote stuff. Probably RSG letter part 2. Hold on. What did I do? Oh, I don't have it. Shame on you, MM2K. Let me see if I can find it in my footnotes. Check my bookmarks. La da dee, la da dow. I got a lot of bookmarks. Hold on, okay, that's not it. Oh man, I missed out on that code. That's something. I missed out on that code too. Man. Hold on, give me a second, y'all. I'm looking for it. Whoa, I missed out on I bookmarked a lot of codes and I missed out. Jeez, I'm horrible. I missed out. When I say codes, I'm talking about Borderlands 3. I love getting my free. Give me a second, I'm gonna find it. And I gotta add it to my manifesto. Shame on me. Hey Stadia, got you covered. Give me a moment, I'm looking for it. I'm gonna find it. I highlighted the crap out of this. Oh, here we go. Nah, that's a career thing. MM2K, you're slipping. Really slipping, brother. You really messed up. Second. Getting closer. Get a little closer. Don't be oh my God. It took me all the way to the beginning. Stop. Don't do that, Twitter. Hold on, I remember when it was around, okay. Come on. We're getting close. Bear with me, y'all. Get a little closer. Don't be shy. Come on. Close. But shout out, oh, here we go. I don't know why I don't know why the hell here. Oh, Lord Jesus, MM2K, what are you doing? Like sometimes, like I should have been had this in here. This was stupid of me not having it. I get angry with myself sometimes. Stadia keynote. Jesus, come on, brother. You gotta do better than this, man. All right, so let me take this one tweet right here. Yeah, Stadia had a keynote, and I did several different posts on this. All right, here goes one of them. The reason I kept highlighting 2023 as a big year for many of these game companies, that's when you'll see them really churn it up for their future game products. And this is a slide from the keynote where Stadia came out and talked about the future of the platform. They did this in July of 2021. So I feel like a lot of the stuff that came from this Business Insider article was in between SG&E closing down and this happening. You know what I'm saying? Where they're doing things like the transactional revenue share is changing. And new 85-15 split for the first $3 million in Stadia revenue for titles launching between October 1st and the end of 2023. That was just announced in July. You're trying to tell me that now in February they just forgoed all that? Like there's no focus on the platform? What else do we have here? Come on, hold on. 85. Let me label this stuff. 85-15 split. 2023. Label this because we got to label this stuff. We got to have all these receipts and stuff for people with their crazy stuff. All right, what else we got here? You see if I can go back. Okay. That's one of my favorite tweets. You see, say okay. I don't know why that won't. No, because I just play around, copy link to tweet. I ever do that, do copy link to tweet and it never, for some reason, it doesn't want to copy this tweet. Copy to clipboard. Wow, that's weird. Don't want to copy that one. Okay, let's keep going. Really weird. Copy this one. Copy. Bear with me. I'm getting all the stuff. Hey, forcing me. They're not copying any of these tweets. Okay, I see what I gotta do here. This is getting real weird. Sorry, y'all. I apologize. I'm just trying to get this information out here. I just lost it. Okay, well, screw it. But at least I kind of like found around the time frame, so screw it. Let me go to the chat real quick. Avery Bobo says, it's hard to believe I was reading so much poorly claimed conjecture when I read through this one. MM, in your opinion, is it common for employees in a structured organization to actually have the informed knowledge that's getting proposed here? Avery, man, you're a smart individual. Let me explain something based off of what Avery said. Avery Bobo just said. Not only is it uncommon for common employees to not have that information, but depending upon the ramifications of such action, you may have higher up people that don't know. Prime example, Jade Raymond. When Jade Raymond was let go, she did not know in advance she was being let go. In response to her being let go, and I'm pretty sure she was frustrated, there was an article that was out by WCCF Tech that a lot of the naysayers, that she tweeted and liked and retweeted that said Google was getting out of the gaming business. And it made it seem like that Google was shutting down its efforts in gaming altogether as it related to Stadia. Now, even this article doesn't say that. Even the Business Insider article doesn't say that. But Jade Raymond liked it. And what did all the naysayers do? They jumped all over it. Or what did the mainstream, well, no, it was mainly the naysayers. Mainstream people didn't even know about her retweeting or liking that. Point being, to Avery's point, most of the people, depending upon the ramifications of the decision, they don't know until it happens. You can't be a successful business if everything that's happening is leaking out. And I'm telling you, when it comes to Google, they the most unleakiest company I've ever seen in my life. As much information as I get on PlayStation and on Xbox on a routine basis, my God, they seem like running faucets, broken dams. The information that we broke here was, golly, I'm probably never getting anything like that ever again. And it wasn't bad information. It was information in relation to this, what you see on the screen. The Stadia keynote, where they're doing the split 85-15. They're doing this Stadia Pro initiative where 70% is going into a pot for Stadia Pro participants. You know what I'm saying? They'll click to whatever revenues and everything associated to that. All that was foregone. That was just decided on in July. All that, you're throwing that out the window already. In order to take that article at face value, you have to believe that. Because the article is talking in a realm that Stadia is hanging on a thread. So Avery Boba, that's one of the smartest comments that I've got. That's why I trust. That's why I do these things. I record these things with the members of the platform first, because you guys are the best. I mean, I love all the subscribers and everything, but you guys invest more time and stuff like that into the platform because, again, you really want to pivot off the facts. That's why I love you guys. I mean, shout out to Bada Bing, who hit me with the he, as I like to say, and he hit me with this in regards to Stadia. I mean, I didn't even have to keep going live after that. Okay. Such a smart analysis from Avery Bobo. I appreciate it. But the whole one person who they didn't identify as a current or former employee. One current and former employee said, but one estimated. Who is this one? Are they even a current employee? Are they someone that fell in between the time of when maybe a lot of the main level employees were unsure, even the former employees that left were unsure of what was going on? Maybe their particular workload, the people that they're talking to, their workload, maybe it went from 100% Stadia retail to 20% Stadia retail because they were reallotted to work on something. Who knows? Business Insider is prone. They have done it in the past where they've taken individual situations like this, where you may have had some indie developers that didn't like the communication with Stadia. But that does not signify everything in whole. Because what signifies everything in whole is that of the 61 pro games that were offered within that time frame, that Business Insider wanted you to believe that Stadia wasn't getting any of the indie games. From my count, around 41 of them were indie games. That's not even all the indie games that hit the platform at that time. Business Insider has a habit of taking individual situations and bloviating them to make them seem like that they're the norm with everybody. Maybe the people that they talk to, okay, let's take what they're saying at face value of what information they were given. Who are these people? I mean, I get that all the time. Oh, I can't release my sources. And I get it. Sometimes I can't release my sources. I just find it funny that nobody release a source on Stadia. And all of these people that come with this quote unquote information, these employees, nobody can be identified. Even the former ones can't be identified. Nobody can. I find it funny. With that being said, who is this one employee? Are they former or are they current? Whether they were former or current, what was their specific job title? Like this whole current and former employee. Like, let me explain something to you. As a manager of a call center, now I won't say, okay. I used to manage a team, rather, I'm gonna use another example, that got dissolved. And they didn't know it was happening. And when I had, there was they got synergized. And when it was announced, of course they were in a state of shock. Now, had I grabbed those former employees, because they thought everything was okay, and I couldn't let on that they were getting, that's part of my responsibility, part of the thing of my job at that level that I didn't like. So I can kind of relate to Phil Harrison, who gave them a kudos because it has to be business as usual. And then next week you got to let them go. You can't, legal and PR tell you cannot do that. That is setting the company up for so many problems. And you don't want to be the cause of it, because the hellfire and brimstone that you will face, y'all just can't imagine it. Because I know someone who did do that, and my God, like they just signed their own death wish as far as being employed there. With that being said, I bet you that if I was an investigative reporter and I wanted to interview those people, the stuff that they would tell me would make you think that there were bombs strapped all in the building and it was ready to explode. And yes, these people worked there, and some worked decades. But how connected, how in tune were these employees really? At what level were they? Were they high-level employees that were in specific boardroom meetings, specific conference meetings, or were they low-level employees that really had no idea about the decisions that were being made? They could only speak to their individual workload or someone at their level's workload. See, I'm very leery of articles like this who want to lump together estimates by one person who happens to just be a current or a former employee, or they an exec. You can't even tell what level they were. You don't have to tell the exact position. But all employees' knowledge are not the same. So who are these employees? That's where the wordsmithing comes in. And I've shown you on numerous occasions where Business Insider is guilty of wordsmithing their articles in a way to give a certain appearance of something. But when the dust settles, when we're here next year, right before the next article comes out, all this stuff is going to be oblivious because it's going to be false, like the other times. And to me, this is the most egregious one of the misleading stuff of it all. Current and former employees said that the priority was now proof of concept. Who? For them? For their group? Where did they work at? Who did they work with? This is all too ominous and vague. And people that don't have experience with the business infrastructure will just gobble this up and take it as gospel. I'm not. You can't fool me. 25 years of corporate business experience, negotiating contracts, SLAs, RFPs, and testifying and doing depositions. You can't fool me with this garbage. So here are the big takeaways from all this. Let's close this up. Big takeaways. And then I'm gonna let people call in. White labeling is getting a significant push. It is. And it's smart because it's reminiscent of how Xbox built up its cash stream to gain the confidence of Microsoft and for them to add more to their development. You guys are solvent. You guys are in the green and out of the red. That finally happened last generation. The generation that they get laughed at the most, Microsoft was making the most money. Why? Because of deals where they could leverage to other people, Minecraft. And really, you could call Minecraft its own platform, where they white labeled Minecraft for education and all types of stuff, right? And then for things like PlayFab and Havoc. Whenever you see somebody use PlayFab for their game development needs, the game doesn't necessarily even have to be on Xbox. Doesn't mean that the game is going to be on it. They can say, oh, hell no, we don't want the game on Xbox, but we want to use PlayFab. And Microsoft is going to say, okay, we still getting paid, baby. Same with Havoc. You can have a PlayStation exclusive, and that doesn't necessarily mean that the game is going to be on Xbox. But if they use Havoc, Microsoft's like, okay, baby. Just like how we're running into the situation with the white labeling for Stadia, where the Batman game is on AT&T using Stadia's tech. Will the game come to the platform? I'm hoping it does, but it may not. But that's okay. They're still getting paid. And that revenue was what helps inject more solvency into Stadia and more vote of confidence from Google/Alphabet. That's how Xbox got to where they're at now. Google is trying to emulate that same success. So with there being a bigger push for white labeling and a bigger focus for white labeling, that's smart. We've seen it already work. Because Xbox ain't had no games. They canceled, the Dragon game. The Fable game got canceled. They were running low on titles. What was helping to build their revenue was their third-party development, their third-party games. Not third-party development, the third-party sales, DLC sales and all that other stuff, microtransactions, and their white labeling efforts. That was huge for Microsoft. And again, you can consider Minecraft its own platform. Not just a game, it's its own platform. So you can consider that being white label. Because of how the way it's distributed in the variety of ways that it's being used. Not just games, for a whole bunch of stuff. It's plausible that last year, when Stadia was granted a higher priority, that is a fact. Now, Stadia as a whole was granted a higher priority. That's a fact. That a bigger portion of the additional budget that was allotted went to white labeling. Let me just throw you some numbers out there. Yeah, this is low ball numbers, but just so it's numbers that are easier to calculate in your head. Let's just say if Google said, okay, well, we know what they said. They on a retail level, they said we need to get with developers and we need to find out what they need to bring more games to the platform and what they want to see from Google. And Google worked with Stadia, and they did just that. They interviewed different developers, and they came back with all this feedback, and that's how you got this new development toolkit. That's going to be rolling out hopefully sooner rather than later. And then Google in response said, and Alphabet in response said, okay, if this is what they need, let's inject, let's put some money into this. Let's just say that for Google Retail, they said in order to make this happen, let's give Google 30 million. Give Google 30 million for this. But let's just say on top, in addition to that, at the same time, they said, well, we need to make this solvent. Got to generate more revenue, because if we generate more revenue, that's a bigger pot that we can add to Stadia Pros. We can probably add more initiatives, you know what I'm saying, on top of the Stadia Pro initiative to help bring developers over. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe we can incentivize people without just cutting them a check. We could just have better programs running, and we need to not just be cutting checks, you know, that aren't, you know, money isn't coming from anywhere. This has to be, we want this one day to be a self-sustaining platform, and it's going to be rough in the early years in order to do that, but maybe we can subsidize, that's the word I'm looking for. Maybe we can subsidize some of these efforts by doing X, Y, Z. Right? So then, let's just say if they say, in order to increase our white labeling efforts, for those that are going to focus on white label, let's give them 50 million. That's plausible to me. Because you had the same thing happen with Microsoft. We've already seen this work. Where Satya Nadella gave the green light to Phil Spencer and Tony Myerson. Oh yeah, the evil Tony Myerson. By Minecraft, Havoc, to put together PlayFab. That was more money that they were putting into those white labeling efforts than they put into games themselves. There were no games coming out for Xbox. They didn't have any. They didn't start getting games again until Sea of Thieves, then Gears and stuff came out. They really had nothing to talk about for a few years. Don't have short-term revisionist history. Most of their efforts, their investments rather, went to their white labeling efforts. So it's plausible to see to where as Stadia as a whole got a boost as far as budget, because that was confirmed to us by sources that are irrefutable. Period. It's not beyond the realm of belief that money was given to the white labeling effort, and maybe a little bit more. Why? Because injecting that with something and getting that rolling is a winning formula as shown by Microsoft. Look at where they're at now. Big boy buying Bethesda and dropping $70 billion on the wood for Blizzard Activision. Yeah. During the building years, if that's what you want to mimic, go ahead and do it. But just because the white labeling effort may have got more money, that doesn't mean that Stadia Retail didn't get any money. They got an investment. Proven to me by irrefutable sources. Stop falling for this okie doke. At the end of the day, none of us really know what's going to happen at the end of the day. But I guess Google came out here and said, we're tired of the silly stuff, man. And they came out here and they shut it down. And they did it in a way which I think was good. Let's stop falling for the okie. they're getting away with this stuff based upon your inexperience with how business works at this level. Keep falling for it. Stop it. I don't believe that it's an 80-20% focus. I don't believe that. But to believe that more focus is on the white labeling effort temporarily to help get some money pumped in, that's not unplausible. But see, a lot of you, and you got to be real, you got to be self-aware, a lot of you are new to this. Y'all don't know this stuff. Like when I was talking about the fight for the living room and what Phil Spencer was saying, all that stuff was alien to y'all until I showed it to y'all. You gotta know what you don't know. There's a lot of stuff that happened between 2013 and now that a lot of you just aren't keen about because y'all ain't start doing this till 2019. I advise that y'all go into the archives and really start looking through stuff between 2013, 2014, You know what's a good source, baby? MM2K videos. Go to MM2K on YouTube. Here I go right here, baby. Go to MM2K on YouTube and start going through my videos. I talked a lot about the developments of Microsoft, what they were doing. Predicted a lot of things that were happening. I said, look, Microsoft, before Microsoft even talked about acquisitions, I know they got a big war chest. I said, what Microsoft is going to do, because I don't see the part to where they're looking to develop games from the ground up at an astronomical level. They're going to start acquiring stuff to keep the platform honest. I said, in order to do, they're going to have, and I said, they're going to do it by 2023. That's why they let you triple up on Game Pass till 2023 when they first started doing those initiatives. I said, they're going to start buying stuff because there's no way in hell that you can develop between 2019 and 2023 and have the masterpieces that you need to have developed internally. You got to buy stuff. So I said, I predicted on this channel, they're going to buy stuff. Now, what they were going to buy, did I know? No. But I knew they were going to buy substantial stuff. Just go through the content. Go through it. It's all here. A lot of it. A lot of videos. A lot of blood, sweat, and tears. We've been talking about stuff. A lot of this stuff you can get from my series. Let me see if I still got the playlist. The series is called The Prognosis, featuring MM2K, baby. Wow. That was some of my best work even to date. Prognosis featuring MM2K. Y'all need to follow this. Y'all need to follow that stuff. That's the best work. Where you investigate stuff thoroughly. I was tapping into resources that none of the gamers knew about. Even the people that were close to Xbox, I was educating them. Oh, wow. So-and-so never told me that. Yeah. Because this is what I do for a living to keep my lights on. I got to dig deep in the demographics and the trends, all that stuff. So it's easy for me. It's like second nature for me, even though we're doing this for video games. What Xbox long-term success should look like for them and their gamers. I think this is where I was talking about it. I think this is where I talked about Microsoft keeping Game Pass honest by making substantial acquisitions. Check out the content, baby. We predicted. We talked about it here, Crackdown 3, and we predicted how Crackdown 3 really disrupted the Xbox audience and really caused like a civil war. Look, all we do is follow the tea leaves of facts. You're going to get what they call this, the Continental Express or the Continental whatever. The Library of Congress or whatever. This stuff should be laminated. This should be put into text format and laminate it. Put on loose leaf and laminate it somewhere. The Continental Congress, I think it is, where they hold on to prize content and stuff. Prognosis featuring MM2K. We break it all down to you for this to help get you caught up to what's going on. So when you see Google doing it, you don't think it's so obscure, because the mainstream media is going to tell you that, because they just don't like the platform. They don't like the advent of cloud gaming. The reason why Xbox gets a pass is because their majority thing is console gaming. That's what they like. That's what they're familiar with. That's what they like. They understand that cloud gaming is a whole new learning set for them, and they don't want to get into it. And the other ones have said, you know what? We saw Stadia get out in front as far as being out there first. We're going to call our stuff betas. Or when it comes to GFN, well, you know what? We're just good for when you're away from your computer. That's what the CEO said. Now, I get the 3080 tier is trying to take advantage of people not being able to get certain hardware. But again, GFN has already embedded in the mind of people, this is just when you're away from your computer. So people are comfortable with that. Amazon Luna said they're in beta. So even though nobody's really paying attention to them, they don't get the scrutiny. You gotta understand what's going on here. Business Insider obliviators. Stadia never expected the platform to be a major competitor. Only 1 million active users year one. Expectancy. Stadia just announced 100 plus more games coming to the platform, just like previous years. That is not a reduction in priority. Cloud gaming is only a 1% business to companies like Google and many others. It's a marathon, sprint. All this crazy talk that Stadia is failing, Stadia is not doing this, and Stadia is not doing that, is because these people are over scrutinizing just this one single platform out of fear, out of misunderstanding, out of emotion, whatever the case may be. You just have to be smarter than that. And you got to know what sources to go to and what sources not to go to. Out of Google's mouth themselves, they said there's also more feature goodness coming to Stadia 2, stuff we can't talk about just yet, but we promise to share when we can. This is a business that understands who they are. They tried to leapfrog a little bit and get a little fancy with this communication somewhat. They got lambasted for it. So they said, okay, we going back to our little hut. We understand we're 1% business, and that's what their approach is from here on out. But people still want to come by the hut. Where's the mansion at? I don't see the running water, and I don't see the pool that's spitting out Kool-Aid. We never said we was going to have that. Some amenities that we feel every gamer can enjoy. Most and foremost, this is for a niche crowd of cloud gamers. They have a specific need. Cloud gaming is more fulfilling to them than dedicated. Some crossover situations to where you are happy with dedicated device gaming. Cloud gaming really, got you excited. Most of our client base, its early years, are going to be cloud gamers. Specific need, their niche, but springboard. The higher pastures when that time comes. That time isn't right now. Here's the biggest thing that I want to talk about, and then we're going to get to phone calls. Let me put it in here real quick. On keyboard. Yeah, I got multiple keyboards. Here's the actual biggest takeaway from all this. Even before that, we got that tweet from Google. Patrick Sabol, a Google spokesperson, told Insider in a statement, "We announced our intentions of helping publishers and partners deliver games directly to gamers last year, and have been working toward that. The first manifestation has been our partnership with AT&T, who is offering Batman Arkham Knight available to their customers for free. While we won't be commenting on any rumors or speculation regarding our industry partners, we are still focused on bringing great games to Stadia in 2022. With 200 plus titles currently available, we expect to have another 100 plus games added to the platform this year, and currently have 50 games available to claim in Stadia Pro. And then on top of that, if you hear one thing, hear this. The Stadia team is working really hard on a great future for Stadia and cloud gaming. We hope you agree. And we know the proof is in the playing. We're particularly proud to be offering 50 games to Pro members in February with more than 100 titles to join Stadia in 2022 and plenty of free play days for everyone to enjoy. There's also going to be more features, goodness coming to Stadia too. Stuff we can't talk about just yet, but we promise to share when we can. Have a great weekend. Have a great weekend. I'm going to add to that. I find it personally highly unlikely that Google or Amazon bow out this early without them utilizing the cross-pollination of their streaming platforms. Google and Amazon have such a thunderous springboard into everyone's home or the closest realm to a billion gamers. I mean, I forget the projections of where Stadia is expected. I mean, Google or YouTube is expected to be. I think right now it's like around 400 million, or it might be 800 million people watching video game streams. We know Twitch is way higher than that. Twitch is the king of video game streams. They have the easiest path to a billion gamers by the simple fact that, again, your favorite streamers, all they gotta say is they're gonna get free codes. You wanna play Madden? I'm gonna run through the first 5 of y'all that I give that I allow in here to do it via crowd play or whatever they call it on Twitch. Nobody else is gonna have that because nobody has a streaming platform at the power of Google and the power of Amazon. Bowing them out right now is just too early. These are the building years. Right now, Google is building up on Google Play. That's its main gaming stint. Amazon is building on not Luna, but its Prime, stuff like that. These are the building years. That's why Amazon's own game, New World, isn't in Luna yet. Platform's not ready for prime time. None of these platforms are. As impressive as GFN is on paper, all the stuff that you got to do to get to be able to do this and this AI upscaler and this and that, that's not going to resonate with the average gamer. It's not ready for prime time yet, but they're getting there. What GFN does show is how cloud gaming can close the gap. And as it relates to Google Stadia, we already done talked to the developers. You follow our platform, and the developers say that you can get, they've seen the 4K 120 on there. That's bigger than anything out there right now. So it's just important that everybody understands that there are certain sources out here that are trying to keep their lights on. They're just like, my friends are going to do it. We joke back and forth in the DMs or whatever, and I told them, I got to go. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no big deal. Let them have their fun for the moment. But there are just going to be some people that are going to be in a reprobate state of mind when it comes to this. Let them be there. Enjoy your games. Play them. All intents and purposes. Soon. That said, let's open up the phone lines. Okay, the Skype lines are open. For those of you that don't remember the phone number, 724-739-3612. Storm will be proud of me because I normally don't remember that number. 724-739-3612. Here's what I'm even willing to do too. If you go to PNTS Network, and I'm putting it up on the screen. If you go to PNTS Network and you scroll to the bottom of the page on the home screen, and you leave a message there, I'm willing to play your message. Okay. You leave us a yappa. If you leave us a yappa on PNTS Network's homepage, I'm willing to do that. Let's go through these comments again. I'm gonna start from top to bottom as we wait to see if anybody wants to call. We got Victor Del Maestro. He says, hiya, shout out to Vic. He also says, so I hear Phil Harrison has left the country. And then Vic also says it's mostly what was covered in February 1st, 21 announcement. See, Vic is a Stadian at heart. He's very enthusiastic about the platform, but he wants to see the platform in a specific place right now. And I get it. I understand it. I may not agree with it. I may be a little bit more resolved and be like, well, I get what's going on here. It's a marathon, not a sprint, and I've settled for that. You know what I'm saying? And Vic comes at a different place, but Vic is a Stadian just like I am. But even Vic recognizes that most what was covered in here was already talked about in 2021. Dustin Aran says hello. Victor Del Maestro says, so the Business Insider item is speculation. I think we did a good, I don't know. What do you guys think? You think we did a good job in pronouncing so? If you're watching this live, it ain't gonna hurt my feelings. Matter of fact, let me do this. Let's do this. For those of you that are watching live, it ain't gonna hurt my feelings. Did we present the issues with the BI article well enough? Oh, here we go. Did we present issues with the BI article we present our issues? Put it up here. You let us know. And if you are in the chat watching the video on demand, if I'm available, I'll put the poll up as well. You know what I mean? If not, then just type yes or no in the chat if you're watching this video on demand. You know what I mean? But let's continue on. So yeah, I think we did a fair job. I love Victor here. I'm gonna put it up here again. I can't get over this. This is funny. And look, you gotta be at a place now. I'm gonna be honest with you. You gotta be at a place where, and in this poll, for those of you that are live, put your honest opinions because it ain't gonna hurt my feelings. In whatever you vote is anonymous. I can't see who votes what. But this just cracks me up because it cracks me up for two reasons. Number one, it's just like it's like they're trolling us. You know what I'm saying? And you got to get over it. Like people troll the Nintendo platform, but the Nintendo platform ain't going nowhere. Now do we have the numbers to boast like Nintendo or whatever? No, but we got the longevity. We have the longevity to boast to where we can say, but y'all keep saying we're dying. Like, look at all the Rich from Review Tech and the Young Yays and the Dreamcast boys and all them saying that we died. And we haven't died. So, we're going to probably outlast some of y'all. You know what I mean? Like, stop it. I don't mean that life-wise, but some of y'all, podcasting or whatever, we've already outlasted IG, Inside Gaming, right? Shout out to let me take that off the screen. Let me go back to another screen. Let's go to some live gameplay. Geek the Sneak said, what's up? Dustin says he admits I may have gotten upset earlier, but it was reactions from naysayers on Twitter. I expected this. We usually see this in February, March, or April. You know what? I think I can do this. Do this. Pop out the chat. Then maybe I can do something like this. All people. Shout out, I appreciate all of y'all that voted. We'll do something like that. I'll read the chat. Oh, come on. Stop acting up. Don't want to work now? What's going on? Well, that ain't working. I was trying to show y'all the, but again, if y'all want to call in, 724-739-3612, or leave a comment on Yappa. Just leave us a Yappa comment, meaning go to PNTS Network. Just go to the homepage, scroll down to the bottom, go down to Stadia, and just leave us a Yappa. It's like viewer mail. You know what I'm saying? And then we'll respond. When I go through these comments, if we haven't got anything, then we'll just close out shop. Okay, so Dustin and Rand said, I may have gotten upset earlier, but it was reactions from naysayers on Twitter. I expected this. We usually see this in February, March, or April until the news picks back up. Geek the Sneak says, oh, wow. I just wish Stadia social media would speak up to clear things up. And Geek, you got your wish. I bet Geek's comment, he got his wish. Bada Bing says Stadia just tweeted. Dust says, yes, clear, concise, and to the point. Snuff that out quick, fast, and in a hurry. Out quick, touchscreen typos. And Dust said, I remember when what was I talking about? I think the Business Insider old article. Geek to Sneak says, no doubt. Shout out to Geek to Sneak. He gave the platform $5. We appreciate it with the $5 sticker. Avery Bobo says, it was hard to believe I was reading so much poorly claimed conjecture when I read through this one. Yeah. And this is the hip hop quotable of the day. It says, MM, in your opinion, is it common for employees in a structured organization to actually have the informed knowledge that's getting proposed here? And we talked that out. It depends. Even high level employees don't know certain things if it's detrimental to the future of the company. Everybody doesn't get a memo that says this is everything that's going on in the company. It doesn't work like that. It depends upon your placement. So with Business Insider's mention of employees, all employees are not at the same level. These could be low level employees that were just making phone calls. Oh, we don't know who they were. And they were probably getting stuff from word of mouth. Just because you're an employee doesn't mean you're connected to the decisions that are being made and they're going to be made in the future. And they are probably talking specifically to things that they have experience with. Maybe their workload went to 20% as far as it related to Stadia retail. The whole company's focus? I don't believe that. But to believe that there may be an increased focus on Stadia white labeling, maybe more than retail right now, isn't a stretch of the imagination, and it would make sense because why? We've seen it done before and it worked successfully. That doesn't mean that no further investment is going into Stadia and Stadia didn't get a boost. I know for a fact that it did. Dustin Aran says probably someone that they scraped up from 4chan or something. And let's make that tweet go around like the article. Yeah. People are doing a good job of that. I do want to see something though. I want to see, because there are 235 retweets. And I want to see the quote tweets. Let's take a look at the quote tweets. Let's see. Look at that. This person. This is probably like 30% true. Everything is fine. Don't worry. Which is the Google way of lying. Again, we simply say to the person, y'all been saying we've been dead since 2019. It's 2022. Give it up. I need to see a video of the Stadia team saying, that's stupid. Calm down, everybody. Look at that. And then Google is shutting down Stadia as a consumer service this year. Mark my words. 100 to charity if I'm wrong. Here, I want to do this. Snaps photo. Photo. No. Camera. Let's do that. Hold on. I gotta show you guys this. bookmark this. Bookmark. We got to take this. A lot of this is ignorance. You got to take it with a grain of salt. Let's see here. And I didn't do that to read it. They did it, boys. We got corporate to allow a roadmap. The only Stadia news I care about today. I am a founder, ambition, and recruiting my friends. Shame it's bound for the graveyard, just like the haters said at the start. Cheer up. No time for closure. Joy Stadia if you want it. There is a God. Nintendo and Stadia will merge. Oh my goodness. Yikes. Damage control to the highest order. I've said from day one that Stadia simply wouldn't work. I'm not happy I ended up being right, but the streak is unbroken, unlike my Wordle streak. Again, we're 3 years into the service. It ain't happening. I agree with you, ride or die like that. I like Leo. I really like Leo. Very sensible. Stadia in my video, Stadia will continue to exist as it has been in the past year. That said, temper your expectations. Plans have certainly changed since launch. It's a week before. Yeah, this guy loves. We've dealt with Ron and Medio before, and he's not on the right side of things normally. So interesting responses from people. Look at that cap. That's my bro King's blood. He can't help himself. But with that said, I want to say thank you to everybody who's chimed in and really helped to make this a great stream. Again, we're going to upload this for the members tomorrow. I mean, not for the members. We're going to upload this for. Oh, come on, Jesus. We're going to upload this for the. We're going to upload this for the public tomorrow. Went a long way over. We're 3 hours and 18 minutes into it, but you know I can babble. All right, with that said, I appreciate all of y'all. Thank y'all so much. Whether you're watching this live or you're doing it on demand. And until next time, have a wonderful gaming day. Peace.